For the first time in 3 years, top-level sports car racing returns to the Pacific Northwest. The American Le Mans Series from Portland International Raceway is next.
The American Le Mans Series. Cool cars, world-class drivers, premier road courses. Born in France in 1923 with the first running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the ALMS is the glamour, the glory, and the grueling reality of sports car racing. European style with American attitude. Drivers from around the world strut their speed, skill, and endurance. 4 separate classes racing on the track at the same time. It is the chain that connects the new and the faithful sports car fans of an extraordinary endurance racing tradition. This is the American Le Mans Series.
Today marks the halfway point of the 2004 American Le Mans Series and the 4th race in 5 weeks. The drivers and teams have been tested by the busy summer schedule, but tired or not, they'll all lift for today's 5th round of the American Le Mans Series. Good afternoon, everyone. Lee Diffie with you here in Portland, gearing up for the next round of the ALMS. One of the storylines that's been on everyone's tongues for more than a year now is the ongoing and very interesting battle between the champion Audi and the Dyson Racing Lolas. It reached its high point at Infineon Raceway last year when Dyson came away victorious. Well, here at Portland International Raceway, that story has taken a different turn again, a positive turn for Dyson, and Calvin Titfish tells us why.
Well, indeed, Lee, in qualifying this year, it has been a titanic battle between the two teams. With pole position here today in Portland, Dyson Racing now lead those stakes 3-2. And yesterday it was Andy Wallace driving the number 20 machine, taking it to his first pole position in over 5 years, Andy. Over your teammate Birch, did the team have anything to say about that last night at dinner?
Oh, leg pulling, leg pulling, leg pulling. No, they never let it go, do they? No, but to be honest, we really work together as a team always. And right up until the last session, we were comparing setups, which I don't know if too many teams will do that because we knew that one of us may get pole position. So great to be a part of this team, and I'm very, very happy that Goodyear gave us such great tyres too.
All right, Andy, good luck. Good omen for this team is the fact that last time an Audi was not on the front row with Sonoma last year, and Dyson Racing went on to win that one, Lee.
Thanks, Cal. We congratulate Andy Wallace and the Dyson team. We also say well done in GTS to Olivier Beretta and Ollie Gavin, their 4th consecutive pole position for Corvette Racing. And speaking of that team, certainly, and the car, certainly has been in the focal point of the national media in light of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s horrific crash a week ago at Sonoma. There is somewhat of a happy ending on the end of this story, though. Dale Jr. ran 38 laps today at New Hampshire International Speedway before handing over to Martin Truex Jr. And this is what he had to say at New Hampshire in a press conference on Friday.
I like the Corvette. I enjoy racing it. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a great race car. I hate to be the guy that backed it in the wall and burned it to the ground. But I would, you know, if I got a, they told me, and they've told me 100 times that anytime I want, I got an open invitation to get over there and drive with them. It's fun to be around those people. They have a great passion for racing, and I go over there and do that because it's kind of what I miss out of the reason I started racing, and so it's, you know, I'd do it next weekend if we had a weekend off.
Really pleasing news to hear that. Our road racing analyst is Dorsey Schrader. You've raced both sports cars and NASCAR. What were your thoughts on what you saw last week?
Well, the burns received by Dale Earnhardt Jr. were well documented to his legs and also underneath his chin here. But by his own admission, he was not wearing the fireproof long underwear underneath his suit, nor was he wearing a balaclava. Now, neither of those are mandatory for a driver to have to wear. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will wear them from now on. Plenty
of news about GTS. Also in GT, there's been some controversy in that class. Brian Till has more.
Absolutely, Lee. The story in GT is not from Portland. It is from Infineon, where the 45 car took the checkered flag first. Darren Law, Johannes Van Overbeek celebrated the wins, drank the champagne, and took the trophies home. But the officials later ruled that they had an infraction in pit lane, penalized them 42 seconds after the race. That moved them back to second place. Finish at Infineon. They still hold the points lead in the GT class, but they arrived in Portland with some bad feelings and a lot of controversy still in the air. Things did not get better as they blew an engine in this morning's warm-up, and they'll have to start today from pit lane. Lee?
The American Le Mans Series is all about 4 classes on the track at the same time. Let's meet our respective pole sitters with the Audi starting grid.
I'm Andy Wallace, driving Dyson Racing car number 20 with Chris Dyson.
Hi, I'm Clint Field from Dublin, Ohio, driving the number 30 Marquee Financial Lola B2K40 Judd. I'll be driving with Robin Liddell this weekend.
I'm Oliver Gavin. I drive the number 4 CompuWare Chevrolet Corvette, and my teammate is Olivier Beretta.
I'm Mark Lieb. I'm racing the 24 McKenna Mail-to-Web Alex Straub Racing Porsche together with Romain Dumas.
The remainder of the grid at the top of your screen. Meanwhile, Calvin Fish tells us more about the Prototype 2 class.
Well, a big problem yesterday, Lee, for the Miracle Motorsports team who currently lead the points. They had a comprehensive engine blow-up right before qualifying, means that they didn't make that qualifying session. They start today's race from the very back of the pack. So for Ian James, the championship leader, and his teammates James Gouet and John Macaluso, they have a lot of work to do today, as first they have to weave their way through the GT field.
Be a nice birthday present for John Macaluso today if they could do that. It was Ian James' birthday on Thursday. Rolling toward the green. The Grand Prix of Portland. And it has been a very, very busy summer schedule after a lengthy break between Sebring and Mid-Ohio. The teams and drivers have really been forced with a brutal workload. Set to go racing here, though, in the Pacific Northwest after a 3-year absence. This should be a good one today. Can Dyson take the fight to champion and beyond and win? Set to the green. We go racing in Portland, American Le Mans Series style. Ian James at the back of the pack dives right to the inside. Meanwhile, Chris Dyson leads the way, and JJ Lehto goes around the outside into the festival curves.
Patience, boys. They wreck a lot of race cars right in this corner right here, the festival curves. Not much room to go side by side. Right on board right now, JJ Lehto trying to get the inside.
JJ is impatient, really putting the pressure on Chris on the opening lap. Outside, side by side, Lehto, oh, that was a dangerous move, but he pulled it off beautifully.
Picking on Chris Dyson early on, trying to get a lead, because right behind that, of course, is the 16. He'll want to get by here, too.
Make no mistake about it, they were frustrated by not being able to put that car at least on the front row, let alone not on pole position.
Butch Leitzinger.
He's responded quickly.
Butch Leitzinger's got to get by. They cannot let that Audi take off like this and run away on the first lap. And it's going.
It was fascinating to watch qualifying yesterday. JJ Lehto gave everything he possibly could in qualifying as Leitzinger now draws up with the sister car.
Now these Michelins on the Audi come in right away. They're up to temperature and almost all the way up to pressure. These Goodyears on the 2 other cars, however, take 2 or 3 laps longer to get up to speed, and you're seeing that now.
Oh, did you see Leitzinger there squirreling and squirming through the final turn onto the front straight? He's starting to set up his teammate, but he is not quite close enough.
You got to be real careful with those Goodyears for the first couple of laps, because the pressures aren't up. When the pressures aren't up, the car's bottoming, particularly under braking. Goes right down on the chassis, you lose all your braking completely.
Let's ride with JJ, the opening couple of corners.
Outside of the old tile turn 1, this is actually the festival corners. They don't really call it turn 1, they just call it festival. It's not much of a festival, however. This is the turn 1 coming up here. It's a very long right-hand corner. Turn 2 is also right, and it makes a 180. One great big long 180.
Well, one of the keys, guys, is yesterday we had extremely high ambient and track temperatures, so it meant that the Dyson team went with a much harder Goodyear tire than they normally would for today's race. So because they're on those harder tires, it will take 2 or 3 laps for those tires to get up to temperature. Just spoke to the Michelin guys. They said we had 137 degrees track temp yesterday. It's just below 100 right now. Big difference.
Huge difference. Actually, the ambient temperature for the last 2 days out here in Portland, highest ever world record for the out here, 103 degrees. And the track temperature significantly different today.
Top of the straight, you see Olivier Beretta has got by our P2 class pole-sitting car. Now Butch Leitzinger, and it looks like Chris Dyson let him through.
Yeah, he did. He finally got the temperature he needed up the tires. Chris said, okay, you're faster than 2 cars right now. Go on, I'm not going to hold you up.
GT class leading car. It is the 24 of Romain Dumas, the pole man. 3 consecutive poles. We must congratulate Alex Job Racing, their 22nd consecutive pole position. That is an incredible run. And it just shows you how together they are in the one-lap flyer, how they can put a quick lap together. The championship winning team. They're being hounded, though, by the 43 of Lucas Luer. A change in strategy there. Leo Hindry has started the past 2 races, and Lucas did not even get to race a lap. Well, they put Lucas in the car this time, and now he's taking the fight to the Frenchman.
Lucas Luer, one of the special Porsche drivers. No question about his ability behind the wheel of this car. Now, before the temperature dropped down, everybody was really concerned about tire wear and so forth. I don't think that will be an issue today, as it's about 85 degrees.
It has been a frustrating run this year for BAM Motorsport, for British American Motorsport, but things looking good at the moment.
Guys, I talked to Leo Henry earlier today, who's one of the principals on that team. He actually owns the car, I should say. And we were joking, and he said, you know, they decided that they took a team vote and voted unanimously to let Lucas start. And I said, well, what happens if the car breaks? I won't get any points. And they said, hey, Leo, you haven't gotten any points the last 2 races. You know, he had a problem at Infineon, and when a fuel pump broke and then a crash. So they said, we're going to put Lucas in, we're going to let the kid go, and Leo, you can play in your toy later in the day.
I hate when they tell you that.
On board with the 45, this car had to start from pit road. A change of engine after, look at this on the inside, coming up on the inside of the Penalties and the sister car. Good forceful driving from Johannes van Overbeek.
That was Gunnar Jeanette in the Panos back there, passes the sister car as well. That's Seth Nyman driving the 44.
And well done to that team for executing that engine change so quickly. We are up and running here at Portland International Raceway, the American Le Mans Series. Can Dyson respond? There are your respective class leaders. It's the halfway point of the season, and it's only going to get tougher from here. Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Portland is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Back at Portland, and you're looking at JJ Lehto. Race leader is off the track in the champion Audi. And we apologize for JJ's language there. Of course, we are live here in Portland, and he is a little hot. Something has obviously happened with a lapped car, and JJ went on to the grass very quickly. Obviously, we're seeing it as soon as you are. No damage to the car. It involves the J3 Racing Porsche and Tim Sugden. JJ's tried to go around the outside.
Oh, you know what? And JJ just did not get it right. He clipped that Audi. No doubt JJ was all the way around and past the Porsche. Watch here, riding on board. Gonna get hit. Dear. It's very hard to pass here at Portland's hard to say. I'm trying to say Porsche at the same time, but it's very hard to pass. But that was a clean pass on the outside. It should have happened.
So he's back on track and chasing down Butch Leitzinger. He did have an 8-second lead, and now he's down by some 4 seconds. He gets by one of the Lamborghini Murcielagos.
Now the patience is really gone. I mean, he's steaming.
Well, we just spoke to the team, and they believe there is no damage to JJ Lehto's race car, probably to his psyche a little bit there. You heard the words on the radio. He gets fired up really quickly. In fact, this team sent all of their drivers through an anger management course a couple of years ago. And JJ is typically in very good spirits, but he's fired up. He really wants to win this one. And the tire choice that these boys made seems to be coming their way. Looking at the lap times right now, they seem to have a significant advantage over the Dyson Racing team. JJ said the tires were not good yesterday, but they hope for cooler temperatures today, and that's exactly what they got, Lee.
The man who sat on pole the very first visit here in 1999 in the American Le Mans Series in a BMW V12 LMR. Look at him whipping his way through the traffic. Comes past Ian James in the 10, who has just served a stop-go penalty.
Boy, as a driver, you were just furious after something like that. He had such a good start to the race, everything going his way, lapping through cars right away on the 6th lap, going by cars, and all of a sudden, bam, round you go.
I just need to correct an error that I made just a moment ago. He's not 4 seconds down. In fact, that was Dyson. I just looked at the timing monitor incorrectly. JJ is, in fact, 17 seconds down on race leader Butch Leitzinger. So it was very, very costly. Here is the man out in front. Nice and smooth and calm. He gave it his all yesterday in qualifying. It was pretty exciting stuff between those top 3 cars in the P1 class, and he narrowly missed that pole position. Look at the battle in GT, though. Lucas Luhr all over Roma Dumas.
Here into the festival corners, you have to have a little patience on this racetrack, guys, especially at the beginning. You cannot make contact. It's a very flat racetrack, and these corners are slippery on the exits.
Peterson White Lightning Porsche, the Le Mans winning Porsche, sitting third with Dave Murray at the helm, and Mike Peterson, Dale White, two principals of the team, said, sure, we would have hoped to have qualified a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. We know we've got a good race car and we can take it to them. They sit third at the moment.
And that's the lead car overall, the 16 Dyson car trying to come by the three of them right now. You got to be careful on this passing. This is exactly where the Audi was put off.
David Murray doing a great job in that number 31 Porsche. I just checked in with the team. They said no problems at all. I asked about the weather and the cooler temperatures. Would that help the tires? And they said, yeah, we've got a good race car for the cooler temperatures, and that's great. But where it really helps is inside the car, well over 140, maybe even 150 degrees in these closed GT cars. So the cooler weather, yeah, it helps the performance of the tire and the car, but it also helps cool down the driver, and that helps his performance throughout those long races.
They're all three Porsches up front, but three different teams. Alex Job, Bam, and Peterson White Lightning all represented. Lucas Luhr thinks about it again, slightly gets it locked up and sideways. Couldn't quite get through on Dumas there.
Got rear brake lockup, did a really great job of not spinning the Porsche around because you saw the back twitch really hard. Normally that'll send you flying with that engine in the rear.
Lucas Luhr was telling me a fascinating story the other night at dinner. He said that he was in racing in the junior formula and didn't really ever like motorsport. He liked being in motorsport because he thought all the drivers were cool, but didn't actually really enjoy it. He thought, yeah, it's not too bad. He said it wasn't until he got to a higher level of international racing that he got excited about what he does, and he is so, so good at it. Here comes the Audi. It is reducing the margin substantially. It's right behind this car. The 23 of Jörg Bergmeister, damage on the back of the 23, and JJ Lehto whips around the outside. Margin now down to 13 seconds, so JJ's caught back 4 seconds. Calvin, tell us more about the Job car.
Well, there is some slight damage to the rear end of that number 23 car, currently driven by Timo Bernhard. He got tagged in the back end. Lee has damaged the under tray, will affect the performance a little bit, but engine performance too, because the exhaust has been bent over. We've seen that in the past when those GT cars take a hit in the back. It can affect the exhaust system and ultimately engine power. So the team went over to the pit wall to monitor the situation. When they make a pit stop, they'll probably try and effect a repair.
The car that won at Infineon being struck with more bad luck here like it was at Lime Rock Park. Meanwhile, we continue to monitor the progress of Dyson and Champion. We'll be back in a moment. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, you can catch the replay of the German Formula One Grand Prix. Of course, it has already happened. That is a replay in case you missed it earlier today. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That is the German Formula One Grand Prix. Great crowd here at Portland. Look at them packing the stands, enjoying the sunshine. It has been incredibly hot. We had 2 days back-to-back, 107 and 103 degrees, something like that. It's been crazy up here. Hottest ever temperatures in Portland. We ride on board with the 45 Flying Lizard Motorsports Porsche with Johannes van Overbeek at the wheel. Brian Till mentioned at the top of the show and highlighted the controversy between this car, this team, and Alex Job Racing and what happened with them at Infineon Raceway just 1 week ago. We got some reactions from the people involved.
It's a new rule from what I understand. It states anytime you come into pit lane, you have to stop in your pit stall, shut off the engine, and refire it. Even if we had done that, we would have still gone out ahead of the 38 car. So it's just a new rule for this year. It's my mistake that I didn't know it.
I guess it's racing, and those are the rules, and we have to abide by them. But you know, any other sports during the event, if the call isn't made or if it is made, I mean that's the decision. It's upsetting that 20 minutes after the race we have our win taken away.
Well, clearly our preference would have been to have assessed the penalty at the time and let everybody sort it out on the racetrack. Occasionally, though, when you see a situation and after the race, you need to make it right. This is not what we would have preferred to have done, but there clearly was a violation. It clearly gave them an advantage that was unfair and needed to be addressed at that time. There were a range of options that were open to the stewards. They always have to be Solomon in these cases, figure out what the correct penalty is for that situation, and that's what they assessed.
I've made a mistake, and obviously the officials didn't catch it. So it was kind of two mistakes made at once, and you know, but rules are rules, and it was just a bad luck for us. If it had been made during the race, we feel pretty confident we would have still won.
Thomas Blum there from Flying Lizard Motorsports, and after being the center of the controversy last week and losing their victory, finishing second, they had to do an engine change today. That cost them a lot of time. The team had to work very hard, started from pit lane, and the 45 is now up to 6th in class, 15th overall. So the Flying Lizards are flying. And Van Overbeek, who is one of the 6 team principals, doing a nice job behind the wheel.
There is a lot of confidence on that team. Lee, you heard Thomas Blum say, you know, I had the confidence we would have won on the racetrack. That confidence is there because of reasons like the performance on the track, but like the performance in the pits this morning. An hour and 40 minutes they changed that engine. And don't forget, this is not a purebred race car. It's production based. An hour and 40 minutes, pretty darn quick. Don't expect to go to your Porsche dealership and have them change the engine in your 911 in an hour and 40 minutes. Pretty darn impressive, guys.
New second place competitor, JJ Lehto for ADT champion Audi is there. He's finally caught and passed Chris Dyson. This is how he did it.
Under braking right here, almost gets in the back of Chris, as you see. Working through traffic. Oh, that was close. Oh, and he gets put off by the Porsche. We had no idea he was there. They can't see him. That's the second time JJ's been put off. Take a look here. Trying to work on Chris. He's going to go to the inside right here. And the Porsche doesn't know he's there. There's no way. And he puts himself more or less off. Lucky didn't go around again.
Gets by the 67 Races Group Porsche with Pierre Errett behind the wheel. But he is hot under the collar, isn't he? He is fired up after that earlier incident with Tim Sugden that sent him off the track. Now it's an 8-second deficit that he needs to try and make up to be there with Butch Leitzinger and then get by, but he has been consistently running in the 106, 107 range of lap time, so the ADT champion Audi is flying here.
If you're in one of these GT cars and this Audi goes right up underneath the back of you, you can't see him. You look out the rearview mirror, there's nothing there. Obviously, that's what happened back a moment ago. But it's something, if you're driving the champion Audi, you have to take that into consideration when you make these passes. When you put your nose in some place where it can be chopped off, you better be aware of it.
The Pino's Esperante there getting passed by the second and third place cars, running 7th in class. P2, we ride on board with Ian James in the Miracle Motorsports machine. He is the points leader in this class at the moment, has had 2 race wins this season. However, these guys made an engine change. They had to start from the back, and when he did start from the back, well, the officials deemed, the IMSA officials deemed that he passed too many cars before crossing the start-finish line. He had to do a drive-through penalty. So Ian back out on track and making up for lost ground.
You saw right there a pass by the leader. The lead car, the Dyson car, just came whistling by. It shows you the enormous closing rate here at the at Portland Raceway. There is the lead P2 car right there, however. Clint Field driving his car. Outstanding field of drivers in that car.
Yeah, his father John joining him, and Scotsman Robin Liddell back over as well, competing. So 3 in that car, and they're going for their 3rd victory of the season as he's coming up to put a lap on Ian James. This is not good for the Miracle Motorsports boys, so we'll see if Ian can fend him off. But Clint Field has got quite a bit of speed at the moment. Field executes a pass, not quite. We'll see if he's done it when we come back on the other side of this. You're watching Sports Cars on Speed, the American Le Mans Series, the Grand Prix of Portland, and you see the GTS class-leading Corvette with Olivier Beretta behind the wheel, and he has a very healthy margin over the other GTS cars, including the sister car driven by Ron Fellows and the Celine of Terry Borchella. And Beretta has been 3 years of American Le Mans Series competition here in Portland, 99, 2000, and 01. And Beretta won back-to-back in 99 and 2000 in those very, very dominant Oreca Vipers. So he knows this place well. This is only his 3rd appearance here. He didn't race in 01 here, so he's going for 3 from 3.
This number 4 Corvette, however, has been a bit snake bit. I mean, they've been always really fast, leading races, and they just run into difficulty week after week.
Car coming, Audi, 2 seconds back.
That's
Audi,
a spotter. That's something you need to know as a driver, that you've got a fast car coming. It's 2 seconds behind you. It's a second behind you right now.
Car behind you, Audi behind you.
Keeping Olivier Beretta fully informed of what's around, so unable. Look how much faster they come through. That's JJ Lehto. The gap 9.5 seconds between he and Butch Leitzinger. And that last lap, Lehto just ran a 105.9. He is absolutely flying. We go from GTS to GT, and we've got a new leader up front. It is the BAM car with Lucas Luhr, the German, behind the wheel. Multi-time GT ALMS champion. He gets passed by Ron Fellows, second place in GTS.
You see Lucas Luhr just go to the outside of the racetrack and leave the inside open for the Corvette because he knew he was coming. The same thing happened with the Corvette when the Audi passed it. If you know a faster car's coming, you just don't turn in. Let him have the apex and duck in behind him. Neither of you are slowed down by that maneuver.
And Luhr has been able to gap Dave Murray. Both have got by Romain Dumas, who sits back in third place. Jörg Bergmeister still fourth in class. Paul Wagner in the New Century Mortgage Porsche for the Racers Group is fifth. Then the Flying Lizard car is still sixth. Gunnar Jeanette seventh, and the Risi Ferrari is eighth. There's second place Dave Murray, then back to third Romain Dumas. The Peterson White Lightning team looking for an improved performance and result here in Portland after some frustration in Sonoma a week ago. Calvin Fish.
Well, they're up to second, but that 31 car certainly got the wrath there of Alex Job. Alex, for the second race in a row, one of your cars has taken a hit from the 31 machine. Your thoughts right now?
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. The 31 car ran in the back of our 24 at Sears Point. It had some bearing over the race, and then now it's run in the back of the 23 car, which has certainly had some bearing so far. And, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to race that way, but, you know, I don't know what we can do.
You've certainly dominated this form of competition, Alex, your team, for many years, but this year we see more intensity in the class than ever. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the teams are getting better and better. You know, we're a good team, but there are many other good teams. You know, the Flying Lizards, the Racers Group, the Peterson Motorsports, you know, they're all very strong teams. It's playing out on the racetrack. You can see that.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. And he mentioned Peterson Motorsports. Let's go down to Brian's Hill for a story there.
Well, thanks, Calvin. I can certainly understand their frustration down there on the 24 car, 3 poles in a row, but yet to find a victory down in the 31 pit. Contact both weekends with that Alex Job car, but different drivers each time. David Murray this time, Craig Stanton the last time. I talked to the team. They said the 31 car is fine, obviously, by its performance on track. It is still running well. They said it was just an incident, happened on the first lap down in those very infamous festival turns, and just a racing deal as far as they're concerned at Peterson. Lee?
And there's an air of confidence in that team that they can withstand this hectic summer schedule because of their vast experience in off-road racing and being able to pick up and get on the fly and be able to move and operate on the run, so to speak. So they feel that they can handle this, and they've got, of course, 100% confidence in their drivers who are very, very physically fit. We'll see how it pans out today.
Another reason this GT class is so strong and so many teams are being able to run at the front is because Porsche themselves is spreading the love around, if you will. They're actually giving these teams, there used to be a factory Porsche team, now you're able to go out there as an independent, buy this car, ready to race, and run a team competitive on the same level as the factory. So they're really sharing technology and they're sharing all the love across the Porsche board, if you will.
Keeping you in touch with what's happening up front as we see Lucas Luhr, the GT leader, down into the festival curves. Leitzinger now has only 8.2 seconds over Lehto. JJ is eating into that overall lead. Chris Dyson sits third. Fourth overall is Beretta, and the lead P2 car is in the top 5 overall. Clint Field going well. It's been a rough, tough day so far, and there's been a little bit of road rage out there. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing continues right here on Speed. And next Saturday from 1 p.m. Eastern is live. It is the Line-X Spray-On Truck Bedliners 200 from Michigan. Continuing on with the American Le Mans Series and our 4 respective class leaders. Leitzinger, Clint Field, who has about a 50-second margin over the second place Jeff Bucknam. Then Olivia Beretta has 16 seconds over Fellows, and Lucas Luer has literally only a couple of car lengths over Dave Murray. It's tight. Here's our overall race leader, though. Butch Leitzinger for Dyson Racing.
Here's the bad news. Second place, JJ Lehto running 2 seconds a lap quicker. You see him right there, the fifth car in the screen. He was only 4 seconds back, maybe 2 seconds back.
2.8 seconds now. He has been hammering through, and I think, in fairness to Butch Leitzinger, he did get held up in a little bit of traffic on that last lap as he comes out of the festival curves down into turn 1. It's now going to be a square one-on-one fight between Dyson and Audi. The champion driver, JJ Lehto, set to respond after going off course right here, as a matter of fact, at the beginning of the race with contact with Tim Sugden. Wow, JJ lights it up. Calvin?
Well, when Butch Leitzinger makes his pit stop, he'll turn it over to James Weaver. And James, we've seen you guys fast all season long. When it comes to race time, little niggly problems get in the way. At Lime Rock, it was refiring the engine. Have you corrected that problem or identified what the problem is?
Yeah, at Lime Rock, they had changed the fuel, and instead of, I think it was MTBE, which is the additive they normally have, apparently that's not legal in Connecticut, so they had to run ethanol. And the car was very reluctant to start on that, but we've now sorted out, so we'll start on that, and the other fuel.
You've looked at the screen, the monitor, and you've seen the lap times, and a lot of concern there. You had a great race car yesterday, but come race day once again, you seem to have slipped off the pace a little bit, and Audis are strong. What do you contribute that to?
Yeah, unfortunately, Calvin, you're absolutely right, mate. We were very, very good at Sears Point all day long on Saturday in practice, quick in qualifying. Same thing here, very good in practice, excellent in qualifying, but we're struggling in the race again, and we're not really sure why.
Okay, well, they'll certainly look at tyre compounds, try and make a decision for when Butch does make his first pit stop, guys.
Certainly the cooler temperatures have got to play into this handling factor. I mean, it's some 15 degrees cooler today than any of the times they've driven during the weekend so far. In any event, didn't affect the Audi. It's coming on strong. I just saw Butch Leitzinger in the front straightaway run over some debris when he was making a pass on some slower cars. He definitely ran over and threw something up in the air, so hopefully not a cut tire.
And Leitzinger responded on that previous lap, lapping 0.3 of a second quicker than JJ Lehto, and he took the gap back out to in excess of 3 seconds. So it's a good, tight tussle at the front. We'll see what JJ can come up with this time.
Plus 2.5.
Now he's responded. Lehto has responded, and significantly. 2.5 seconds now the gap.
And the man on the radio you heard right there is in fact Butch Leitzinger's father. Bob Leitzinger, longtime racer. Very calming voice when he's on the radio with you.
Butch has had a great week in between Infineon and here. Spent some time with his wife and some friends that live in this area. Did some rafting on the river and some relaxing. Came into the weekend in a very good mood, positive mood. And set to go. And he's been at the front for the majority of this race. One of the nice characters of the American Le Mans series, and one of the features we have in our speed shows are the little baseball cards that give you more background on each of the drivers. He's talking about his first car.
My first race car was a Nissan showroom stock 300ZX that I dug out of the snowbank behind my dad's race shop because he had raced it a few years before, and I went through all my schools and early races with that.
What was your first car?
Fiat Abarth, actually.
Road car or race car?
Both.
Really?
Yeah, my first road car turned into my first race car. Oh, the Panos is out in I think that's in the festival corners, and it's in the gravel trap. That, I think, is Gunnar Jeanette. Yes, that is the festival corner.
There's a lot of oil down there. I think we're probably done.
He said he
spun in his own oil, which means take a look here and see what happened. Maybe he's lost. Possibly lost an engine or oil line. Let's see what happens.
Whoa.
He sure spun. I didn't see any oil come out, but that was a pretty quick spin.
It certainly was.
Oh, he's got fire under the hood. It's definitely got a fire up underneath the hood. Now the oil's on fire.
And get out. Hit the fire extinguisher and get out.
Now that the crew chief is watching our feed and telling him he saw the flames and said, hit the fire extinguisher, get out. Gunnar does not know that it's on fire. That came directly from us.
It seems to have subsided a little. You can't see the flames anymore underneath the Panos Esperante. First full course caution. And this certainly assists JJ Lehto. Brian, do you know more about this situation?
Guys, I had just checked in with the 50 team just moments before that. They were very pleased with the way the car was running. They were running competitive lap times. Don't forget, it's a developmental year for them too, and Kelly Collins was going to be in the car with Gunnar Jeanette this weekend. He'll be in that car a couple of more times this season. Car has really shown potential, but obviously that potential today is not going to be realized. Some type of an oil leak, perhaps even the engine blew. They're still trying to get it figured out down here in the pits at Panos.
The team worked incredibly hard this weekend at cooling the cockpit of that car. They really suffered at Sonoma, but I guess that doesn't really come into play now. Quick commercial break, stay with us. Welcome back to Portland International Raceway. The American Le Mans Series continues, and we have our first two in the pits under this caution. Calvin Fish is there.
Well, the leader, Butch Leitzinger, is in. They're taking fuel and going with left side tyres. Normally you would see a driver jet. Whoa, very tight there with Chris Dyson and the Corvette, the number 3 car coming in. But because of the time of this race, right now we're about 40 minutes in. That is the key as to why we're not seeing driver changes. There's a maximum duration of 2 hours for any one driver. When you back that up, that means that Butch needed to do 45 minutes before turning over to James Weaver. So that's the strategy right now, guys.
And JJ Lehto came right alongside Butch Leitzinger, trying to beat him out. They went side by side, but Leitzinger had the better run out. Meanwhile, we see the driver change here, and Gavin gets in after taking over from Olivier Beretta.
It was quite close back there between the Dyson car and the Audi. Leaving pit lane, both of them got off of the rev limiter at the same time, or the pit speed limiter, spun the tires and got pretty close.
The 4 car gets released ahead of the 3. The Corvette boys hard at work. Both have been released, making the most of this first full course caution. Boy, oh boy. Just before we came back to the break, we saw them come onto pit road, and Lehto was pretty hot. Well, tyres are such a crucial point of American Le Mans Series racing, and Brian Till has the Michelin Tech Tip.
In motorsports, everyone's always looking for a performance advantage, and the tire manufacturers are no different. That's why Michelin has come up with a new rear tire for some of its GT competitors. Now, the new rear tire, it's 30 millimeters larger in circumference than the old tire, and also 10 millimeters wider. What does all this mean? It means a better tire combination for the GT guys, and the reasons are this. Imagine this dot on the larger rear tire. It's going to have to travel further to get back to the top. Fewer rotations during a driver's stint. Fewer rotations means less wear on the tire. There's also more surface area on this larger circumference tire. That's going to help dissipate the high temperatures that you see in race conditions. And obviously the 10 millimeter wider width, that's going to add to grip. But it does come at a cost. The larger rear tire means there are going to have to be suspension changes in the back end of these cars to make it work. If you go to a larger tire and wheel combination on your car at home, you too should see a professional to make sure the suspension changes fit with the tire and wheel package that you choose. And one other thing, the larger rear tire, it's going to change gear ratios in the race car, more speed down the straightaway. What's that mean to you in your street car? It means be careful, because the speed that you see on the speedometer may not be the speed that the car is actually traveling down the road.
Professor Brian Till with that Michelin Tech Tip. And Brian is there at the 43 camp.
Guys, the 43 car was in, fuel and tires only. They had originally thought about putting Leo Henry in the car, but Calvin was spot on. This yellow has come at a point in time where it's not 45 minutes in. They knew that, once again, Lucas Luhr would get no points if he doesn't stay in that car for 45 minutes, so they have elected to just fuel it, put tires on it, send it back out. Leo will have to wait his turn. Guys?
And on the back of that, Dorsey, well, if they decided to keep him in, why did we see the Corvette guys cycle their drivers?
Well, you see the Corvette guys are really putting up with a lot more heat than most of these guys. It's over 160 degrees in there. They want their drivers very, very fresh, so that takes all of the fuel line. Wears them out.
Coming toward the end of this first full course caution, we will shortly go back to green flag racing. Stick around. Back live here on Speed Channel, the Grand Prix of Portland, round 5 of the American Le Mans Series. 1 lap to go. Under caution before we get back to racing. And the fans here in the Pacific Northwest enjoying international sports car racing, the 4 classes of the American Le Mans Series. And considering the heat, it's good to see so many people out here today.
It's been really miserably hot the last 2 days. Today, not so bad, but a big crowd. This is a very good area for sports car racing around the United States. Portland always having big crowds here. local racer Monty Shelton from years back, a Porsche dealer, really had this whole community behind the racing scene.
Word from the ground that we have just gone over the 45-minute mark, and because of the driver rule, the maximum allowed time is 2 hours. So that's we're inside that now, and there's been some people making some late pit stops. Calvin Fish has more.
Well, the Joe guys have played that strategy perfectly. They've now brought both their cars in. And one point to remember is that driver log time is as the cars leave pit lane. So even if they were under that 45, say 44 minutes right now, they'd gain that little bit of time before the car leaves pit lane. There we say Romain Dumas helping his teammate Marc Liebin. What a performance by this French guy. He's had 3 pole positions the last 3 races at tracks he has never driven on before. So this team is going to work right in front of him. The 23 cars doing their driver change, refueling the car, and the team are checking over the right corner of that rear end of the 23 car. Substantial damage there around the exhaust area. Let's go down to Brian Tell.
Calvin down at Racers Group. Court Wagner is out, Patrick Long is in, and all the teams down here really keeping an eye on the clock. The guys were saying, we can't bring him in lap, one more lap, we got to have it today. Get the 45 minutes. Flag check out.
Back to racing we go, and let's check out this fight at the front. Lehto goes off the side of the course, keeps it on. Tight racing side by side going through the festival curves, and Leitzinger has lost out.
He was mad at Leitzinger about something that happened straight away on the start. There was a balk there, a really big balk by the 16, has blocked in the 38, and I think that could be payback. I don't know. I mean, that was just really hardcore racing right there. Oh, now Butch almost going into the gravel trap. You don't want that to happen.
And he stalled the car. The car has stopped now, he refires it.
And it's not an easy car to start once it's hot. It does not like going to be shut off and restarting now. Fury behind the helmet of the 38.
And James Weaver looking on. He will realize what has just happened as Leitzinger sits motionless. Here's the replay. Watch the white car on the right of your screen. JJ Lehto making an outside move on Leitzinger.
Actually, the thing I talked about was even before that happened, that they'd already separated by then. Look, no question about contact between the two.
Different angle, front on.
Now we'll
Through
see
comes
it.
Chris Dyson.
Fully locked up the Audi, completely in too deep. And I think, well, I don't know.
Keep in mind, that's where the oil went down.
Absolutely correct.
That's where Gunnar Jeanette went.
Absolutely correct.
Which finally gets going again, but it's too little too late as we rejoin this fight at the front. Chris Dyson fending off the challenge of JJ Lehto.
Chris really doing a good job of learning this new car. He's still very much a rookie driver, and he's under fire now from one of the best. Can't imagine you'll be able to hold him off very long.
Chris is the reigning 675 Series champion.
Look at
JJ
the wheel.
is running out of patience.
Look at his hands on the steering wheel. This Audi is a handful right now. He's going full opposite lock between both these corners, all these corners. Big wheel twitches. And I can tell you from driving that Audi, when you move the steering wheel that violently, that quickly, you're under a handful of stress right there.
Good comparison about the straight line speed. Lehto, this is a very fast section of the course to be doing that. Nearly side by side. He is passing people wherever he wants to.
Well, he's trying
but it's
to.
a little bit hairy.
He's trying to pass on the outside. Good for you, Chris Dyson. Hold him off, buddy.
Down the front stretch now. We go to the area where the conflict was between he and Leitzinger.
He just reached up on the dash and made an adjustment to, I think, his brake bias right underneath the ADT sign there. He grabbed a knob. I believe it's the brake bias knob. And he's in there too deep as well.
Some pretty wild stuff within the P1 class here in Portland. And Lehto, it seems as though it's only a matter of time. But Dyson is not crumbling under the pressure. He's holding firm.
Guys, it is getting ugly out there, and one of the interesting things we all sat on the drivers' meeting this morning, driver courtesy is what they talked about. I'm not seeing any courtesy on the racetrack right now, Lee.
No way at all.
You got that point right, Brian.
Let's get some thoughts on the Dyson boys. Here's James Weaver with Cal.
James, you had a chance to watch the replay, and certainly JJ was pushing hard. And in the drivers' meeting, they said you've got to be courteous to one another. And you boys have come under pressure from the officials in the past for rough driving. What do you think?
Well, our boys come under pressure for us driving. I'll wash your mouth out, Calvin. They're nothing but sort of perfect gentlemen.
What do you think, though, with JJ? Is that just racing, or did he push Butch a bit too hard there?
Actually, I must admit, I'll shut my eyes. I'll watch more closely next time.
Well, can you believe it? They just lost the lead, but he's still joking about it, guys.
What about some credit here for Chris Dyson? This is the most intense pressure he's ever been under at the front of a pack. And finally, Lehto pulls out, but he's still not close enough.
Chris Dyson really showing me a good accounting of himself right now. He's not succumbing to this pressure at all. In fact, he's putting his face in it, saying, come on, you know, you're not going to pass me on the outside. You go out there again, you're going in dirt. Good for you, Chris.
The Lola AER for Dyson Racing leading the way. It's the first time we've ever seen the 20. Whoa, breaking news here from race control. The IMSA officials are penalising the 38. Whether it be for rough driving or what, we will find out in the next few moments. But the 38, I am guessing that
balked.
there will be a drive-through penalty.
Look at this, Chris Dyson balked, held up right there, lapping the Porsche. Now the run definitely going to JJ, but he's going to have to pit anyway. And I'm sure that penalty is about getting into it with the 16 over the witch lights, and you're putting him around in festival curves. Let's see if he comes. Oh, look
Chris
at there.
still holds strong.
Entry to pit lane right up here on the right. You go through this corner. We'll see if he tucks in. Not this time, you're not.
And it's probably right.
Has to get a stop and go.
And you can hear JJ in the background on that radio communication saying, why?
You know that anger management class we talked about?
Yeah, he's forgotten all about that.
The second guy seen it didn't work for him.
He forgot about that 51 minutes ago. Look at him shaking his head in the cockpit of the ADT.
Right now, stay calm.
That's easy to be said than done. Stay calm when you're doing that. I've been in the helmet being told that I have to come in for something I've done, and that just makes you really mad.
1-2. There's been 2 blows to JJ Lehto. First of all, the off-track, and then now this. It's a stop-go penalty for Lehto, and the voice of Brad Kettler from Champion Audi informing Lehto of what has to happen. I tell you what, though, I don't think I've seen Chris Dyson accept this kind of pressure, handle it, and get on with it.
I am so impressed by Chris Dyson. The displays put on right now. Unbelievable. Really doing a good job. Look at these two going at it up on the top left.
It's Mike Peters and Brad Kettler there. They will not be happy that their driver has accepted or has been given this penalty. Cal.
Well, Mike Peters has been over to the official. Mike, what's the word from JJ on what happened there?
You know, the officials here, they're just playing it a little bit tough. JJ's running a hard race. He's working pretty hard out there. I guess they feel that he forced the 16 car off the road, but I think it was his choice to go to the outside. We took the inside, and he ultimately just ended up in the marbles, and he went off.
He made the call for a stop and go for JJ. Is there any chance, have you ever seen the reverse this decision before?
No, we just tried. We gave one lap. Now we got to come in.
There you hear it, boys.
He came back from 18 seconds down earlier in this race. The challenge is again thrown on the shoulders of JJ Lehto, and more so, it could perhaps be his teammate Marco Werner.
Now, JJ, you know you got to come in. Don't make another mistake, man. Just keep going like that.
JJ, you're getting a stop and go. Stop and go in the penalty box.
That's Brad telling him and trying to keep your driver calm. Turn the radio off wisely right then. Race cars don't understand this normal type of talk. That's what happens. Here he comes.
Dorsey, how hard is it here to get yourself under control, to compose yourself when you know that you should, well, in his mind, he feels he shouldn't have been given it.
And maybe he shouldn't have. We don't know that for sure. But, I mean, it's very hard to get composure. I mean, he's already out of control, as we can see. This is just going to add fuel to that fire.
Hey, Dorsey, 60 kilometers an hour is like a sedative.
Yeah, good point there. 60K when you're out there in the racetrack, this feels like forever. Now he's got to stop and really stall it.
No, but I don't think there'll be any rubber left on the rear tire.
Now, you saw the lights flashing on and off. That means you had the computer locked into launch control. He wasn't going to stall, that's for sure.
Back out on track. Has lost time, but it is possible to get it back. We've seen Lehto do it once before today. We need to squeeze in a quick commercial break. Boy, oh boy, it's been hot and heavy here in Portland. Stick around. Plenty more to come.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Portland is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow.
Welcome back to Portland International Raceway, round 5 of the American Le Mans Series. Lee Diffie with Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish and Brian Till. You look at race leader Chris Dyson. He has just handled the biggest truckload of pressure placed upon him in his very short racing career, but boy, did he do it well. The reigning 675 champion, now racing in the P1 class. He's had a very diverse and varied year racing, very different cars. He's doing well up front. Has a healthy lead, updating you that Lehto is 19 seconds back. This is Robin Liddell, the Scotsman, who enjoyed his first victory in American Le Mans Series racing earlier this year in the Intersport Lola. And he shares with Clint Field and, of course, John Field Racing, his P1 car, suffering a cracked tub. Of course, you may remember that from a week ago at Sonoma. They are getting that car fixed, incidentally, and John's hoping to be back in time for Mosport. GTS, and it's a lot tighter between the two Corvette Racing C5Rs. Actually, I take that back. It's quite substantial. There's quite a big gap there between here.
Porsche is running pretty slow. Slow traffic ahead.
Oliver Gavin leading right now over Johnny O'Connell, but a pretty good distance between the two. He's warning the driver of a slow car up ahead. I don't really see that car is all that slow.
Actually, I take that back. There was a little bit of a timing error there, but Johnny O'Connell is not that far behind Oliver Gavin. The 4 and the 3. There goes the 4, and Johnny coming onto the front stretch now. So they're nice and close.
4 seconds is what we're seeing right now between the two. That might not be quite 4 seconds. It's not that far when you can see the guy, I can tell you that much.
So good going here. The sister cars hard at it, and the 3 has won all but one race this year. Will that trend continue, or will the 4 play it nice and steady and get their second victory? On board with the Semco Celine, Terry Borchella, Johnny Molam, the driving combination. They sit 3rd in the GTS class.
These guys still developing this Celine, trying to get it up to speed of the Corvettes. That's a long way to go, but they're working hard at it.
And while we were enjoying that scintillating battle up front between Dyson and JJ Lehto, we've had a change of lead in the GT class. From Terry Borchella to Dave Murray. And the Peterson White Lightning car leads the way. Here comes the GTS lead car of Ollie Gavin about to whip on by. Tell us more about the GT class, Brian.
Different fuel strategies in GT. Lee, David Murray, and Johannes van Overbeek both decided to stay out. They did not pit under that first full course yellow. Mark Lieb, Lucas Lohr, Timo Bernhard, they all came in, as did the number 66 Racers Group car. Patrick Long got in that car, but they had a penalty for a fueling violation, had to come back in, shut the car off, and then leave pit lane once again. So they have been moved back in the order, and the number 35 Ferrari of Lazaro and Kellner's, once again, bad luck has befallen those guys. An engine misfire has sent them back into the garage area. They are done for the day. Lee?
Tough break for those boys. In fact, it's been a fairly testing weekend for them. On board with the Flying Lizard car, the 45, Johannes van Overbeek. Just 3 seconds behind Dave Murray for the lead. Remember, these guys started from pit lane. They changed an engine after blowing one in the morning warm-up. So this has been a tremendous drive. And I can tell you that they put a lot of trust and faith in their strategist, Thomas Blom, who, of course, was the strategist for Yost Audi. And he certainly knows how to call a race in endurance sports car racing. Here's a message from Doug Feehan for Dale Jr. And there's some pretty strong feelings down in that camp about what happened last weekend, and they would love to see Junior back in the American Le Mans Series. The American Le Mans Series action continues live and exclusive to Speed Channel here from Portland. And you look at the race-leading car of Chris Dyson, got a little held up there with the GT traffic, and that has not helped him at all because JJ Lehto is only 10 seconds back, and that may have cost him maybe 1 or 2 seconds right there, so that's to JJ's advantage.
Yeah, it is to JJ's advantage, but I'll tell you what Chris Dyson showed us not too many laps ago, I don't care what you say. If they think this guy's a rookie anymore, those days are over. He just put on one whale of a driving display.
Up front, doing it well. Teammate and pole sitter Andy Wallace standing by, ready to take over when they do the switch. It was Andy Wallace's first pole since 1999, and a good one at that. You can see at the top of your screen, the ADT champion Audi is starting to zero in again on the 20. 6.9 seconds. That's how much that traffic there cost Chris Dyson, and how hard JJ Lehto is pushing.
Andy Wallace will have been watching this on television back at the pits, and he will be just going ecstatic about how good Chris has done. Even though this Audi is running him down, you know, what happened when he caught him last time? We saw a heck of a battle going on. And look, now the traffic is not in the favor of the Audi. He's going through the same trouble.
Well, we praise Chris Dyson for putting on a driving display, but what about this guy?
Look at him thrash the wheel. Watch his hands on the steering wheel. Gets big opposite lock slides between these corners. The car not handling as nicely as you'd like it to be, I guarantee you. Look, right there, snatched the wheel.
What a display. It has been unbelievable. It's been exciting stuff from JJ Lehto, one of the veteran drivers in the American Le Mans Series. They have won 3 races straight. Can this team stop them? Can the sister car rebound to put an end to the ADT champion dominance in this series? GT class leading car, Dave Murray, and of course Craig Stanton will take over from the man from Georgia. Van Overbeck sits second, and Mark Lieb for Alex Job Racing. Mark Lieb and Romar Dumas winless in the 2004 season. Calvin mentioned earlier about their 3 successive podiums, or rather poles, but they are yet to win a race. And the GT class has been fascinating in 2004. The last 3 races have had 3 different winners. Will it be a 4th different winner today? Could it be the 31's time? They did win 1 race last year, and that was at Road America. We'll see what they can do today. Brian?
Well, Craig Stanton talking to Michael Peterson right now, getting some last-minute information from him. See if we can get in here. There we go, Craig. What a great job David's doing today. I know frustration on your part, certainly at an Infineon, but you guys coming to grips with this new car. Seems like you guys finally have it figured out.
Yeah, Porsche's put a great car together. Peterson Motorsport White Lighting team has done a great job. We had a little bit of a scare up front, you know, in the first lap when David and one of the Alex Job cars came together. We feel really bad about that. We seem like we're a magnet here, but I feel bad about that in Infineon. But the good news is we're moving forward, and we got a plan. Dale and Mike are doing a great job, and we got a plan, and we're moving forward, and it's good news for this team.
And hopefully David's going to be handing you a car that's in the lead.
Yeah, David's aces, man. He's been around for a long time and just really seasoned, and I'm just blessed to have him as a teammate.
It's been great to watch this team grow together, and they are certainly getting better and better each time they put it out on the racetrack.
Biggest movers in the field on screen. And speaking of big movers, JJ Lehto is right with Chris Dyson. If you liked what you saw before, there's part 2 about to happen right now, because he has caught him very, very quickly, and Dyson is about to accept that again. Battle there for GT. We're on board. The Corvette just behind these guys. They're fighting it out hard for 3rd there between the 24 and the 43. Mark Lieb and Lucas Luer, who led earlier. Now he looks at his countrymen to try and squeeze through on the inside.
Lamborghini's up in front right there. It's going to be a little obstacle they're going to have to overcome. That Lamborghini quite quick in the straightaways, but not as fast through the corner as these Porsches.
Pressure on there. And as they come across the line, Chris Dyson had less than a second over JJ Lehto. Here they are, back at the front, 1st and 2nd in class, 1st and 2nd overall, and JJ may not be quite so patient this time round.
I don't think he's been patient first time around, to be quite honest about it. But JJ Lehto made up a huge deficit very quickly, so he is much quicker than Chris right now.
Calvin.
Well, 3rd place in GTS is the Celine car, and they've brought it in. Terry Borchella behind the wheel, now turn it over to Englishman Johnny Boland. They had a big disappointment at Infineon, snapping both rear axles at the very same time. And of course, the Pirelli tires, they're really working hard to get the compounds working well. They actually had to go to a softer compound here to make them live, believe it or not. That's typically the other way around. You go with a harder compound, but they had too much slip in it, and they're seeing tire temperatures at about 285 degrees. So the guys are hanging on here. They're looking for better days here. They're working continuously with Pirelli. And in fact, did a 2-day tire test here in May, but the conditions were much different as you'd expect to being hot here in July.
And Dorsey, this battle continues between Chris Dyson and JJ Lehto. You see Lehto pull out of the slipstream of Chris Dyson and just come to the inside. He's not close enough to execute the pass, so why is he doing that? Just to put Chris off his game a little, or?
Yeah, he's putting pressure on. He's aggravating him as much as he can. Right here is where he's faster through these corners. He really seems to be good on this end of the racetrack. However, Chris's car is lighter, remember, and it gets down this straightaway good. Watch right here. Now onto the back straightaway. We get up through the gears, and Chris's car is a little bit quicker. You see it drawing away. Now JJ gets very aggressive at the end of the straightaway. He's going to try to out-brake maneuver and get inside right down here. Up on the curbs, across this one, across the right. One more right, and you're on to pit straight. See, brings it in right close behind Chris. Oh, I'll tell you what, just a big opposite lock slide right there too. This Audi loose on exit.
And yet Dyson completes another lap in front. This is a very, very inspirational drive from Chris Dyson, but can he hang on now? Lehto tries to squeeze through on the inside. Couldn't quite do it as they come up on the damaged 23 Job Racing Porsche. Now Chris has to execute this pass quickly and efficiently. He does that.
JJ cannot afford to make contact with Chris and put him around. He's already served one penalty for the other one with Butch Leitzinger. But I guarantee you they'll frown on him putting this young man around.
Well, JJ won't do it. He certainly won't do it on purpose, but he is driving as hard as we've ever seen in the American Le Mans Series, trying to get the ADT champion back out in front.
Leaving him nowhere to go either. I mean, he's using one side of the racetrack to the other, and it's his to use. Faster here through the straightaway. Look at him pull away, but boy, JJ is just on a tear in the brake zone down here.
And we are edging ever closer to the next round of stops and driver changes as well. Wallace will step in the lead car. The second place car will go to Marco Werner, who has never seen this racetrack before. But that's nothing new. We've seen the German adapt very quickly to racetracks here in North America.
The Dyson team will be at their monitor watching our broadcast and screaming for Chris. I guarantee you, he is doing a whale of a job.
Lucas Luer locks it up, trying to go deep with Mark Lieb there. And right behind, he's got the lead two cars.
Yeah, the lead two cars are in a real huge deal of their own. But this is position for these guys, so they have every right to hold up the track and do what they have to do. Now, Chris has got to get by.
Let's get it down to the pits, Calvin.
Well, the number 4 car is in. Ollie Gavin reported the right front. He's back underway, and just yesterday I was talking to Ollie. He said, I can't believe the luck that the number 3 car has. We seem to be the fastest car week in, week out, but we just can't seem to buy a break, and it seems to bit them again here. Right front, slow leak, they had to pit leak.
And JJ Lehto can't buy a break either. He locked it up there on the inside, trying to make a move on Chris Dyson, and Dyson snapped back in front of him.
But now this is the closest he's been down the back straightaway, and he's going to make a nuisance of himself down here in the brake zone. This is the closest they've ever been. JJ will try to get a run to the inside right here. Not enough. Chris really doing a good job.
Watch it coming down into the festival curves. On the left of the screen is the ADT champion Audi, the twin-turbo V8, chasing the Lola AER of Chris Dyson.
More traffic. Look at Chris move to the inside.
Here's the replay of earlier.
This was very close. JJ on the outside realizes they're going to make contact here in a minute, and he gets to get on the brakes quite hard to keep it from happening. Look, right there. Good defensive driving. He's right now realizing if he hits that 20, he's in big trouble.
You've got to say, though, it's exciting stuff from Lehto. He doesn't follow the leader. He investigates every line possible, inside, outside, wherever he can squeeze through. But it's been a pretty difficult car to get by, the number 20 Dyson Racing Lola. This will continue on the other side of this short break. Stick around. You're watching Sports Cars on Speed. Back at Portland, back with this battle for first. Chris Dyson versus JJ Lehto. And you have missed nothing while we're away. JJ's been trying, she's been trying everything, and had a couple of anxious moments up through the S's that turned 7 and 8.
We did hear JJ call into his crew and say that the car was horrible when it's behind this Dyson car that takes the air out the front and gets very, very unsteady. Aero tight, if you will. That makes it very difficult. He can charge up to the back, but when he gets there, he can't make the corner. Dyson, on the other hand, not having any of this. He hasn't weakened one bit. He just uses every bit of the road, and it's doing the job he's getting to get paid to do.
And after we saw that update, speaking GTS for a quick moment, after that update from Calvin, Johnny O'Connell now the lead GTS car and is comfortably in front of the sister Corvette. Ollie Gavin second in class. Johnny Molan maintains his third in GTS. And Peter Cox in the Lamborghini Murcielago for Krone Barber Racing runs fourth there.
You see the corner worker there waving the passing flag to these Porsche GT cars. And look out, you got two guys behind you and they've got the bit between their teeth. I tell you what, JJ Lehto's got a handful of that Audi. I mean, he's just snatching at the wheel left and right, trying to keep it on the track. It's not wanting to stay there on its own. He's really giving it all.
Seems to you as though JJ's calmed down a little bit at the moment?
I don't think so.
No?
Watch here. We'll go with him and find out. He's tried everything down here to get away from the back end of the air, the turbulent air off the back of Chris Dyson's car. We saw him last time out over there by the curb. Here again, he's gone behind the Porsche to get some clean air.
Oh, on the inside of the GT class leading car, Dave Murray, and was able to squeeze by. You see the countdown clock on the left of your screen. Less than an hour and a half left to run. We've got an update for you, the P2 class, and Calvin has more.
Well, unfortunately, the number 56 car has gone behind the wall with a blown motor, Lee, and that's really against what they were hoping for. They had the bigger Willman engine that they've been trying to use this year, but they found it really wasn't compatible with the Pilbeam chassis. It had too much flex, was cracking the blocks. They made the determination, we're going to stick with the Nissan. Let's have reliability. Let's get some finishes. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them today.
That leaves Robin Liddell and Ian James, the sole remaining P2 cars in this class. Look at this, look at this.
That could have been a mistake right there. Chris Dyson held up at the wrong place in the track. JJ now will have a huge run and a very, very good place to use it. Down the straightaway, watch him, he'll try to work to the inside. He'll definitely be alongside of Chris this time.
Has he been able to pull it off? Fastest corner on the track, can't quite do it. And there really is no room there to do it either, is there?
Now, there's not much room right there without question. And Dyson's car being lighter is quicker down that straightaway. He definitely opens up some gain every time they get on that straight.
Difficult to see which Lamborghini that was that they came by. Now they're starting to make ground on the lead P2 class car.
Oh.
That is Robin Liddell. Ooh, it's tight there.
That is very tight right there. You got to watch the stack up. Robin Liddell, his cornering speed as the class leader in P2 is every bit the equal as these guys trying to catch him. He's not as quick in the straightaway, but when he gets in the corner, he can do it just as well. You see it right here. Chris Dyson really impressed me right now with his cool. I mean, this is a young man that does not have this kind of pressure put on him ever in his racing career, and he's just doing it perfectly.
Lehto just searching, investigating any option, any opportunity, and hounding him. I mean, what's it like to have someone right on your tail like this, lap after lap after lap?
It's a raw pain, but Chris has known one thing all along. He knows he's quicker right here. I think he's been able, he's a very smart man. I think he's been able to know that he's quick on two ends of the racetrack, much quicker than the other car, and he needs to be not held up there.
Second place in P2, Ian James. He lets them squeeze by. Now let's get it back to the pits and hear from JJ Lehto's teammate.
Well, Marco Werner has got his game face on now. Marco, it looks like JJ is fighting the car extremely hard right now. I mean, these track conditions have changed a lot. Have you hit the setup today, do you think?
That's nothing for my heart. That's too much for me. I'm very nervous now. But JJ did a great job now. And, okay, the stop and go. I don't know if he hit him really. I mean, at first he was in front, second he was on the right line. The other car was on the outside, comes on the dirty track and spin. And I don't know, it is the right point to give him a starting go.
Next round of pit stops, you'll be behind the wheel, and Andy Wallace as well. And certainly we saw a great battle between you two at Mid-Ohio. Should we see more of the same today?
Yeah, but don't forget the other one. James go on the car, and I think it's a hard job for me today.
Be a great race, guys.
Marco Werner brought up a very relevant point as we saw Dyson and Lehto come very, very close to blows there as Lehto whips by Johnny Mollem in the Saleen. And that is, don't discount the 16. It's only 18 seconds back. Watch this. Talk us through, Dorsey.
Lehto tried to set up Chris Dyson to trap him behind this car in front. Right now they're side by side, no question. Chris, on the other hand, just says, no, I'm not having any of that. I'm going to run you out into the grass if you do this to me. Here
Look
we
at
go.
this, Lehto again.
I tell you what, JJ trying just any place, any time that he can get. Now, if you're Chris Dyson, I mean, you have to be as cool as a cucumber, or just take your mirrors and turn them the other way. I don't even want to see this.
Inside, Lehto on Dyson. Oh, that's as close as it's been. And he got very, very close there. Chris Dyson did come under some criticism at the Mid-Ohio round when that car was in a very strong position and he spun by himself by his own admission. But now he has completely redeemed himself.
This track, with its grip level on the infield's much harder.
Whoa!
Almost got into the back of him that time. It wasn't intentional, but it almost did happen.
JJ Lehto using every trick in the book that he has learned over decades of racing.
If these guys can go on the rest of this field stint and not have an accident, both of them will remember this race throughout their entire lives because it's so good.
Well, Andy Wallace and Marco Werner, they love that race at Mid-Ohio. This one has been equal, if not better. Here is the 10. It's in pitting. We'll be back in just a moment. Mondays at 9 p.m. right here on Speed Channel. You can test an armor-plated car, get tips on how to drive like a spy, and catch the latest road tests of the most exotic European supercars. It's Fifth Gear, a new show, great show, right here on Speed. That's Mondays at 9 Eastern. Welcome back to Portland, everyone. Let's update you with our class leaders. And you'll notice there that they all remain the same except for Johannes van Overbeek. Now leads the way in GT. The 31 Peterson White Lightning car came into the pits. So the Flying Lizard car goes from pit lane and last to first in its class. Battle continues. Dyson on the left, Lehto on the right. It's a Lola chassis AER power plant that leads the way from the German giant, the Audi R8. Arguably the best sports car ever built.
What a showing by the Dyson guys and by this little car and by this man driving behind the wheel. Chris Dyson with the best accounting in his driving career right now. No question about it, holding out. JJ Lehto, one of the world's best sports car racers, in the best sports car ever built in the world, more than likely. I've driven it. I don't know of anything better.
As we went to the break, we showed you the Miracle Motorsports pit stop being... Oh, no! Lehto's been hit by the Corvette!
Well, you look at that. Chris Dyson will be laughing at that one.
JJ Lehto has been hit by the Corvette accidentally and has gone around.
Dear, oh dear, in the festival curves.
And his second place, oh, here comes Butch Leitzinger. This battle will resume, but JJ escapes like from a bank robbery. He spins away, takes off. Now Butch Leitzinger gets a second shot at him.
Now JJ had to do two little spins there. He had to put the clutch in and really rev the motor and spin the Audi around to get it going the right direction. That is extremely hard on a hot clutch. That could lead to virtue damage. We'll take a different look at this. This is a big event right here. There is Chris Dyson going into festival curves, followed by Lehto. Now watch the Corvette come up. He can't get stopped here.
Oh, no.
Just a mistake, and puts JJ around.
Oliver Gavin will regret that.
Oh, boy, you're right about that. Look at this way. It's going to happen on this turn back to the left right here. I mean, no question about it. JJ did nothing wrong. The Corvette drills him.
And one thing we have to say right from the outset is that is not intentional from Oliver Gavin. That was, in the true sense, an accident. Because you see it kind of backs up a little bit, don't you? And then he comes in just at a higher speed. So now he's 14.4 seconds. So twice we've seen him come back from in excess of 18 seconds down. He's now 14.5 seconds down, and that was the third punch. What do they say? Everything happens in threes? Well, that was it. First of all, it was getting hit by Sugden and going off the track. Then it was the stop-go penalty. Then it was the hit from Gavin. So that's it. Hopefully for JJ Lehto's sake, all of his bad run and bad luck is out of the way for the day. Meanwhile, Chris Dyson skips away. Let's show you a replay of that incident in the festival curves. You ride on board with Oliver Gavin.
This is the one that really gives you in trouble. There's no denying what happened. Gavin will now, we hear, receive a stop-and-go penalty, just exactly like JJ Lehto did for the very same thing, contact with another car, which resulting in a spin. So now the Corvette will have to come in for stop-and-go.
It was a special day yesterday for the number 20 team. Dyson Racing has had plenty of pole positions, but this car has never had an overall pole in the American Le Mans Series. It did it yesterday. Thrilling stuff for Andy Wallace and young Chris Dyson. Now they have led the majority of this race. There's the sister car on the right of your screen running third. The car, boy, the troubled run of JJ Lehto and the ADT champion team. How must Dave Mirage, the team owner, be feeling?
Well, you remember before when I said this would be, if they didn't wreck, this would be a race that both would remember forever? That doesn't hold true anymore. This would be a race that JJ Lehto would rather forget, as he's had to go work so hard to go from the front to the back to the front to the back to have this happen. So right now, this is not in his book of best races.
Well, this is where it becomes very, very interesting with an hour plus, an hour and 20 minutes or something like that to go. If this team can rebound and win this race, it will be their hardest fought victory ever, but we're a long way away from that.
Now here's the deal though, the Audi right there, along with Butch Leitzinger running lap times at 1:06.
Oh, look at Butch. Butch has now hit JJ Lehto.
Oh my gosh,
my
goodness. Butch got hit by the Corvette too.
This is smash 'em up derby time. They are going everywhere, and it's the same car. It's the 4 of Oliver Gavin was tangled up in that. He was not at fault.
Now that's really fast part of the racetrack. You can't just stop there when you see a wreck happen in front of you. I mean, you're going so fast. Holy moly, can you believe that? Now, Damage to the front end of the Audi, no question about it this time. Look at the front end right here. Big gaping hole right there. That's going to cause major problems. It's going to make big understeer. If it doesn't rip the bodywork completely off, which I expect it will if it doesn't stop. I would expect this car in the pits really quickly because Brad Kettler will be looking at this on our monitors and he'll have that car in. Take a look right here. Stack up under braking right in that area. All three wide.
Good catch by Lehto. And after Ollie Gavin was left with nowhere to go and he just nudged into the side there of Butch Leitzinger, he has since come in and served his stop-go penalty for the previous incident. Here it is from a different camera. Leitzinger gets into the back of Lehto. Lehto goes up on the curve. Very, very minor contact there between Gavin and Leitzinger, and both are able to escape out of that. Wow.
However,
on board with JJ.
Dear. What a mess.
JJ saying,
great
what have I
recovery.
done?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
have I done today?
What do I got to do here?
I should not have got out of bed this morning.
Front end of the Audi damaged, no question about it. With that wind getting up underneath there, it's going to rip that front end off. I'm really surprised they haven't called him in to get that repaired and to do a driver change, because right now you're suspect of tearing the whole car apart with the air pressure underneath it.
You know what I can't wait for? And I'm not sure whose end of pit lane it is, Brian or Calvin. I can't wait to hear from JJ today. Here's the onboard shot from the Corvette C5R of Oliver Gavin of that previous incident.
Watch him all stack up in front of Oliver. Now he's got the heaviest car with the least amount of braking potential. Yeah, nowhere to go there. Big hit. When you get hit by a Corvette with a little car like a P2 or that P1 of Dyson's, you've got damage.
It is all happening here at Portland International. There is a fresh front end for the ADT champion Audi team. Welcome back to the Grand Prix of Portland, round 5 of the American Le Mans Series. Chris Dyson leads the race and the Prototype 1 category. Robin Liddell, Johnny O'Connell, and we have a new GT class leader, courtesy of the pit stop from the Flying Lizard team. Alex Job Racing's Mark Lieb on top. The pole-sitting car for the last 3 consecutive races, but they are yet to notch up a victory. He and Romar Dumas looking good today. Can they hang on? We've got about an hour and 15 minutes remaining for them to do so. It has been a thrilling battle at the front. Quite extraordinary scenes really here at Portland between the 2 Dyson cars and the ADT champion Audi. At the moment, Chris Dyson has some breathing space, but JJ Lehto's like a shark, isn't he? He just keeps coming back. 9 seconds now. He's brought that down from 14.4 seconds. He will not give up. We go from the front to GT, and the new leader is Mark Lieb, and it's an AJR, Alex Job Racing 1-2. And of course, he is back in that top spot, courtesy of Johannes van Overbeek's pit stop. We saw Murray was the first, those 2 guys that were slightly off sequence from the other teams, the Flying Lizard car and the Peterson White Lightning car. They've both since pitted, and Lieb and his teammate, Timo Bernard, 1-2 at the moment. Let's get a GT update. Here's Brian.
The lead, Darren Law, now in the 45 Flying Lizard Porsche, but the drive of the race so far anyway, Johannes, has to go to you from pit lane to the lead of GT class. Everything go as smoothly on the track as it looked from here?
Well, aside from our engine unfortunately expiring in warm-up, everything was great. The car was really, really good. Hats off to the Flying Lizard guys for getting the motor swapped in an hour. The car's running great, and Michelin tires working great. So hopefully we can continue the trend to the front with Darren.
I know you guys would like to get that victory that eluded you at Sears Point, but right now the traffic in the other classes seems to just be horrendous. Have you guys had any close calls?
Yeah, we've had quite a few close calls, particularly coming from the back, but there's no serious damage to the Flying Lizard 45 car. A few scratches and missing headlight, but other than that, we're doing all right.
After all, guys, you pull the tail off a lizard, it grows back. Calvin?
Well, unfortunately for the number 4 car driven by Oliver Gavin, there is more damage to this Corvette. They've driven the car in. Olivier Beretto's got behind the wheel. They tore out like the undercover there to the front nose. You can see the external damage. That's not the problem, but the right front was obviously an issue there. They had to bring him in, so this day is going the wrong way around for the 4 machine.
And you see the 16 of Butch Leitzinger coming on pit road. he receives a stop-go penalty for hitting JJ Lehto.
And that one there, I don't know, I believe in consistency in penalties, but this was a racing incident where two slower cars boxed up everybody. These guys were really hard at it, and it was unintentional contact without question. So this penalty is consistent with the others from one standpoint. From the other standpoint, I don't think it's a necessary
no, he stalled it.
And he stalled it.
After being in the penalty box.
I got it going again. These are very hard cars to get re-running once they die.
The seesawing luck of the Dyson Racing team, especially the 16 and also the ADT champion Audi team. Well, let's review that incident. Dorsey, call it for us again.
Right. I mean, the problem really is up here. Watch these two cars get together. As the three cars go inside one another, they make contact right there. But all of that resulting from slower cars that were about to be lapped.
On board Gavin.
You see right there in front there that Butch had everything locked up that he could possibly lock up, and there was nothing he was trying to do but to avoid the wreck. But to get a stop-and-go penalty for that one, I think is wrong.
So he is back out there and at it, and a lot of extra time to catch up after that stall in the penalty box. It's down to just 4.5 seconds between Lehto and Dyson. That is heating up yet again for the third time. Are you ready for round 3? Take a drink, take a rest. We'll take a break. Gear up, because the third round is about to happen. Round 5 of the American Le Mans Series is one we'll remember for a while. This is what's happened so far. JJ Lehto going hard at it with the Dyson pair of Chris Dyson and also Butch Leitzinger. And for second place, Leitzinger was able to get through. Meanwhile, in the lead, JJ Lehto, Tim Sugden come together in turn 3, and around they both go. That cost him a lot of time. JJ Lehto, that was. He went down 18 plus seconds. The 16 of Butch Leitzinger went into the lead. Smooth sailing up front for him. Meanwhile, thrilling battle early on in the GT class between the 24 of Romain Dumas and Lucas Luhr in the BAM Porsche. That went on, and eventually Lucas won that battle, but there was some pretty ill feeling between Alex Job Racing and Peterson White Lightning. There was contact there. It left Bergmeister with damage. Then carving up the grass on the inside, JJ Lehto finally got by the 20 of Chris Dyson. They came in for their first round of pit stops, and Lehto was not happy with Butch Leitzinger. Here we see Leitzinger only changed 2 tyres. Lehto changed all 4. It was a cost in time, and that's why Leitzinger was able to beat him out on pit lane. But JJ Lehto was going hard and heavy, went down into turn 1, switches back late, comes around. Does he get into the side of Butch Leitzinger? Hard to call. That's where there was some oil down on the track after Gunnar Jeanette spun.
Got a penalty for it one way or another, whether he touched him or not.
Now he came back on Chris Dyson, the then race leader. This battle went on and on and on. It's still going on, by the way. However, JJ was brought in for a stop-go penalty for allegedly hitting Butch Leitzinger. He got back out into the action, drew alongside Chris Dyson, but couldn't quite get by. And 2 times he brought it back from a deficit of more than 18 seconds, but then he got hit by Oliver Gavin. He went 12 seconds down. Gavin got a stop-go penalty. It has been action-packed in the most recent incident. Then JJ got hit by Butch Leitzinger. The Dyson and Champion teams have been getting into each other like you wouldn't believe. It has been a thrilling race here in Portland so far, and the damaged front end of JJ Lehto, and from 12 plus seconds down, here he is. JJ Jaws is back.
This is like a reoccurring nightmare for poor Chris Dyson. He goes, I thought I was rid of you twice now. What's wrong with you? Won't you lay down or what?
Here we go. JJ's caught him, and he's caught him very fast. Thinks about it, can't quite do it. This is where he ran into problems with the aerodynamics earlier, and he radioed into the pit saying it was difficult to get by Dyson when he got so close.
I'm quite amazed that this Audi's running as good as it does with all this damage to the front end right there. You see the damage underneath the nose, lifting the front end up somewhat. However, these cars have shown to be extremely strong since their first inception. When their first race came, they've taken side-to-side hits, front-to-rear hits, and they just stay strong as can be. I would have brought that car in, but Brad Kettler obviously knows more about it than I do, as he's left it out there. And look at the speed the Audi has, having caught now again Chris Dyson.
I'm sure he's asking JJ any ill effects, and JJ said, no, just leave it. I want to catch up the time. We can fix it when we stop later on. It's the young American versus the Finn. Chris Dyson from Poughkeepsie, New York. He's got JJ Lehto all over the back of him now as they come onto the main stretch. We will be edging, we are edging closer and closer to the next round of stops.
and it can't be too far away before we see these guys come in and hand over to their co-drivers. Wallace in the front car, Werner in the second car.
Tires might be an issue right now. Of course, the Dyson car on Goodyear tires, Michelin's on the Audi. Those Michelins have been spun around, spun up, gone backwards, gone through the grass, back on the ground again, and they're still strong. But I think possibly Chris Dyson on the tires might be falling off. Brian?
Randall Kelsey's the manager here at Dyson Racing. Randall, I know you guys very busy down here. We've seen a lot today, but you can't be happy with what you just saw, the penalty on the 16 car.
Yeah, well, looking at the tape, it didn't seem fair. It seemed like it was just a racing incident, but they've been giving out a lot of black flags today. They don't like contact, so we just have to deal with it and hope we get a yellow here in a little bit and catch up to the field.
You heard it down here, guys. They're just going to keep their head down and try to get to the front and stay there. Calvin?
Well, Brian, you typically see the faster cars getting into the slower classes, but Ollie Gavin driving the GTS car, you had the lead, you got the right front puncher, and then all hell broke loose out there. Talk us through the two incidents with the prototypes.
Well, I was coming into the chicane, and I think Chris Dyson had just come past me, and JJ was coming up the inside of me into the chicane. I went through the right, came into the left, and I think Chris must have checked up a little bit. JJ then checked up a bit, and he just caught me by surprise, and it was a complete accident. I mean, I didn't mean to hit JJ. It was just one of those things, and I'm really sorry that I spun him round, but I think it was a little unfair with the penalty, but that's my opinion. And then the second incident, then JJ had just repassed me. I'd got some problems with my bodywork. JJ came past me, Butch then came past me. I think they all tried to pass, and Porsche coming into turn 11, and they both got sideways. Butch ended up spinning, and I had nowhere to go, and I ended up running into the side of Butch, and it's not really our day.
One of those days to forget, boys.
Now, one of the things you have to understand is if you're driving one of these prototype cars, a P1 car, that they have such enormous braking potential that when you pass a slower car, even if it's a GTS car, and you get it cleared and you go in front of it and you slam the brakes on or have to check up like Ollie just said, the GTS car doesn't have the potential to stop at the same rate that you do, and you can actually get collected from the rear as we're about to have the pass from the lead.
Look at this. That was as close as he's been coming onto the front stretch. He's on the outside line, though, going down into the right-hander. We saw him do it to Leitzinger earlier on. Lehto fancies his chances. He squeezes Chris Dyson. Brilliant move. Absolute top draw move by JJ Lehto.
Dyson ended up not in the right gear. When he did that, he let him have it out easy enough, but he didn't get the downshifts done, and as a result, he doesn't come off the corner like he should have. Now, the 38 is going to check out.
That was a very sophisticated and slick pass. Watch to the right of your screen. Lehto versus Dyson.
And Chris is going to let it happen gentlemanly, no problem about it. He sees the 38's got the edge coming into right here. He's going to have to turn back left, so he brakes, turns in, but here he misses his gear. He doesn't get it. Watch the Audi accelerate away.
And there's the crew reaction. Adam Masters and the boys delighted with that.
Now, however, when they come in to do their driver change and when they come in to do their pit stop, that Audi needs a front end put on it, and the Dyson car doesn't have a mark on it, so that's going to cost them a little bit more time.
Well, the champion team were about to bring JJ in. They felt they were going to lose too much time. They decided to bring him in the next lap until JJ pulled that outstanding move. So they're going to monitor lap times now and see if he can pull a big gap on Chris. They realize this is going to be a tough battle once Andy Wallace gets behind the wheel of that 20 machine and Marco gets in the 38.
Chris Dyson needs to stay as close as he can.
And I just heard that the number 38 has had its first fuel pickup hiccup. In other words, the engine just sputtered for the first time, meaning that he's going to have to come in to get fuel very shortly.
So Lehto gets back in front for the first time in a long time. We remind you that every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. it's Nopi Tuner Vision. Plenty going on, part drag racing, part show cars, and a lot of excitement. Nopi Tuner Vision. Stick around, more from Portland in a moment.
Charlie thumbs the nose down. Have to go to the routine change.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Portland is brought to you by Yokohama Tires. Welcome back to a beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest. Pit stops happening. Brian Till is there.
The GT leader was on pit road, came in, time stop for fuel. They did 4 tires, and Romain Dumas will get in and take over the driving chores from Mark Lee. But just like almost every other car on that racetrack, there was damage to that number 23 car. Calvin?
Well, JJ Lehto brings the leading number 38 machine into pit lane, and we're looking at that nose right now. It's definitely bumped a little bit. The team says unless the officials claim that there's a problem, If he gives it the thumbs up, they're okay. He gives it the thumbs up. So Charlie here, the steward, has said no problem with the nose. The team will elect not to change it. JJ Lehto strapping in his teammate Marco Werner. They're waiting on fuel. Remember, the rules allow no servicing other than a driver change and changing the windshield on the car. 16 has gone by, so they've taken over the lead, but they will need to do a pit stop as well, as Busch will turn it over to James Weaver there, and they're waiting for those last gallons of fuel. So it's a full fuel load, and now they're changing tires. We've seen these guys double stint, triple stint even Michelin tires before, but the pace is so intense, the team told me we need fresh tires for Marco.
Put yourself in Marco Werner's place. His teammate, this car, has been involved in one of the most intense battles we've seen, and now he straps in and has a lot on his plate at the moment. So the 20 leads the way. Chris Dyson out there back in front. Oh, look at the spin there. That's the Van Porsche, yeah. Meanwhile, the 20 is in. This is the lead car, and the 43 is stranded. Leo Hendry has got the front end up on the curb, and it looks like he may be high-centered. Now he gets going. Fortunately able to get going. Pit stop happening here. Brian.
What a spectacular job. I can't even say it. Chris Dyson has done today. He will hand over driving duties to Andy Wallace. It will be 4 tires, and interestingly enough, they're going to go to scrub tires on this car. They are not stickers, they are scrub tires. They feel like these Goodyears need a heat cycle on them, sit overnight, and then they will actually stay cooler when they run them again. So the Dyson team will go with scrub tires on this car as they send Andy Wallace back out, and he will try to regain the lead. Lee?
Wow, what a day for Dyson. Now he dives back in there. There's problems in the cockpit. There's his water bottle. Needs to clear that out of the way as Andy Wallace finalizes getting himself set up. Meanwhile, here comes the 38. Marco Werner flashes by and picks up a spot. So the 16 is in the lead because of this pit stop cycle. But the champion team out in front now. The most hotly anticipated interview. Here is JJ Lehto with Calvin.
Well, after a slug of energy drink, JJ Lehto finally. What a day. Talk us through the many incidents that you were involved in.
Well, first of all, there was one of the GT Porsches. Didn't see me at all, completely blind already in the beginning of the race. I don't know how he's surviving all the way to the end, you know. But the guys are not just looking the mirrors or flags at all. And he hit me in the back, spun, stole the engine, took a long time to start it up. Lost, I don't know, 15 seconds or something, gained it back. Then again, you know, something happened, you know, somebody hit me. I got the penalty.
What about the move with you and Butch in the chicane? You got on the inside of him into the left-hander, and they made the call that you were rough driving effectively.
Well, that was the most ridiculous thing, you know. Rough driving, I don't know what's rough driving. You know, if you break all the bodywork and, you know, destroy the other's race, you know, that's rough driving, you know. But that was racing and fighting for the situation and position, you know. That was the biggest thing. I don't understand why I got the penalty for that.
I know you're frustrated, but was it fun at the same time?
Well, it was fun, but, you know, just extra work all the time.
Okay, well, we're going to try and bring it home. They're unbeaten this year. Well, unbeaten since Le Mans. 3 in a row, going for 4 today.
We will see if they can do it, but Dyson aren't done with yet. There's the team. They're proud of their boy. He has worked hard today.
What a color commentary is the best.
Back at Portland, plenty of action still on pit lane. You look at the 3, the Corvette Racing team. Pit stop, driver change being executed. Cal's there.
Johnny O'Connell jumps out. Ron Fellows in behind the wheel. They got 3 wins this year. Only lost the 1 race at Lime Rock. And the boys look like they're on course for another one. They talk about luck with the 3 car. A lot of it just comes down to great experience. Ron Fellows more fast qualified in GTS than any other guy there. And Johnny O'Connell has 48 starts behind him. That's the most in the ALMS competition. Good start. They're back underway. Let's go down to Brian.
Well, Clint Field, people at home think this car runs on gasoline, but obviously it needs electricity too. What seems to be the problem, buddy?
Well, we came in, everything was running great. You know, we had a couple laps on the Miracle Motorsports car, but you know, we had a problem earlier this week where we come in and there would be no power when we tried to shut it back or turn it back on. So there's no power. I think we just got it. We switched the batteries, so hopefully we can catch Miracle.
Even though they got a lot of horsepower, guys, it still takes a battery.
What you got, Leo? The clutch on the floor, yeah?
Listening to radio communication with the BAM team. Tim Mundy is communicating with Leo Hendry. Problems for the BAM Porsche.
And he's right at pit in, but such a long way to go to his pit. That thing just rolling along there. Looks like it's under power now.
Slip in, Leo.
We have to tell you, in the GT class, there is a new leader. The new Century Mortgage Racers Group Porsche, Patrick Long, the American Porsche factory driver, leads the way over Craig Stanton and Darren Law. That's the top 3 in that class. Lucas Luer is standing by to possibly take over.
I think I heard him say something about the gearbox.
Check off, please.
Tough break.
Trouble.
The 23. The 23 has had a big collision. Contact there, and Timo Bernard behind the wheel.
I'll let you guess what corner that's in.
Festival curves.
Damage to the exhaust pipe on the right rear. We see it tore out. We've been documenting that.
So the lead trio all pitted. Werner has a 27-second lead over Andy Wallace, and James Weaver in the car now in the 16 after pitting, back in 3rd. Bernard gets back up to speed. Let's bring you through our class positions. There's the top 3 as they stand in the race and in P1 right now. P2 looks like this with James Gouet
from the back,
from the back of the field. He, Ian James, and birthday boy, or birthday man, I should say, John Macaluso. Great drive from those guys today. Tough luck for Jeff Bucknam and his Bucknam Racing team with that blown engine. Ron Fellows leads the way over the Asemco Celine of Johnny Mollem, and Olivier Beretta doing the best he can in 3rd to try and make up for lost ground. And in fact, he's doing so. He's only 4 seconds behind Johnny Mollem, so that will be a good scrap shortly. And in GT, it's Pat Long, Craig Stanton, and Darren Law.
And that class changes about every time we put it up there.
They've
really been going at it.
Good race today in GT. Well, let's hear from a man who was right in the thick of it today. Here's Butch Leitzinger with Cal.
Butch, that is a wild one. Tell us what's going on out there. Is it the heat or what?
You know, the track's really slick, and the traffic's pretty thick, and everyone's trying to take every advantage they can get. It was pretty wild.
They made a call on you that you had, I don't know what they call it, rough driving, unsportsmanlike conduct or whatever. Talk us through that with JJ and the Corvette right behind you.
Yeah, I think JJ got a call earlier as well. To be honest, I don't think either of us really deserved him. When JJ and I got together and I went around, we were both going for the corner. I mean, I don't hold it against him. And down at the other end, whenever I hit JJ, we were just nose to tail and came up on traffic, and everybody checked up a lot more than at least I was expecting. And I hit him, but I ended up going around and getting the worst of it. So I don't know why I got the penalty, because I was already pretty penalized. But it's very cut and thrust out there right now.
Certainly you can't afford to give an inch. You just got to keep going for it. But he's got a big smile on his face, just like JJ.
Well, in the meantime, we heard that the 43 that we saw in the pits is going to be out with a clutch failure, so his day done. Leo Hendry retires that car, I believe.
And look at this. Here's Johnny Mollem. He's got a battle on his hands. Beretta, the 2-time winner in GTS here at Portland International, is chasing the Englishman down. And credit to Jeff Giangrandi and the entire team from Asemco, because they know that they have to be patient with the development of the Silver Celine up ahead. Johnny Mollem and Terry Borchella, 2 first-class drivers with that program, and they're bringing it along each and every race meeting now. It's going to be tough for Johnny Mollem. How long can he hold Beretta at bay?
Let Beretta by, buddy. Let Beretta by.
Well, there you have it.
Question answered. Jim Bell communicating with Johnny Mollem there. They know the brutal speed of the Corvette.
And they're up against the factory with unlimited resource, or at least not more than what they have. Jim Bell says, just let him go. We're racing our race.
The key there is those Pirelli tires. I spoke to Jim Bell and he said we had to go with the softer compound. We spoke earlier about. Whoa!
He gets him and puts him around. Wow. Now, I bet we'll see the yellow car in the pits very shortly.
Calvin, if you didn't see it, Beretta went through on the inside and there was contact between he and Mollem, and whether it was Mollem closing the door or Beretta being forceful, there was contact. No mistake about it. And I'm sure Jim Bell will be a little bit angry about that after he just told Johnny to let him by.
Yeah, because those guys realize they have to run to a pace. They need to run the softer tire to get the tire temperatures down, and that means they have to run a little bit off the pace.
Well, you see right here the braking maneuver. Johnny turns in. There's the contact made, no question. Ford got into it. What is ironic about it is that he's just been told, oh yeah, he just gets right in and just drills him from behind. Just tells him to leave the Corvette go. Right on board of the Corvette, you'll see what it really looks like.
Maybe a bit ambitious from Beretta as well, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think so, actually. I mean, he could have. I think that's an avoidable accident, and I think you'll see the number 4 in the penalty box here just in a few minutes.
Olivier doesn't hit him in the front part of the car. He definitely hits him in the rear part. Anyway, Molan with a slightly damaged Semco Ferrari continues on.
Oh, you mean a Semco Celine?
Celine, I'm sorry. Used to be a Semco
yeah, it was,
Ferrari.
wasn't it?
We need to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment. Each and every week on Speed Channel, Wind Tunnel, 4 nights a week, live Monday through Thursday this week. Guests Bobby Hamilton, Edsel Ford II, and on Thursday night, Team Penske IRL driver Sam Hornish Jr. On board with the 4, Olivier Beretta has just received the black flag and he is slowly making his way to the dog box, the penalty box. And that is for the incident, as you saw just before we went to the break.
Oh, he stalled it. There we go.
With Johnny Molan. When we were in the commercial break, we heard some radio communication between the team and Olivier. Not particularly pleased about getting given that, but as you mentioned, Dorsey, they're consistent with their rulings.
So far, they are consistent. Everybody who's hit anybody and put him around has been in that penalty box. Whether it's right or wrong or different, at least it is consistent.
Marco Werner leads the way over Andy Wallace and James Weaver. The margin is in excess of 20 seconds, so Werner is doing it comfortably at the moment. 4th place overall is Ron Fellows, and he is the lead GTS competitor over Johnny Molan and Olivier Beretta as we ride with the ADT champion Audi and Werner. 7th overall is James Guay, who is the lead P2 driver. And then the first place GT competitor is the New Century Mortgage Racers Group Porsche Patrick Long, holding off Craig Standen. There's less than 2 seconds between those guys. And if either of those cars can hang on for the victory, it would be our 4th different winner in the last 4 races in GT. That race has been thrilling today. Well, one guy who we've heaped praise on here in Portland in this event is Chris Dyson, and he's standing by.
Chris, sensational stint for you, leading the race for many laps, and you're not a rookie anymore, but certainly don't have the experience of some of the guys on your team and the Audi team. Was it a coming of age for you today, battling for the lead up there?
Well, definitely. I learned a lot out there. James and the boys have really given me a lot of great tips over the years, and you just kind of learn through osmosis back to coming to races with my dad. And we came here. We wanted to compete. It was a wild card race for us. The car's proven to be better than we thought it would be. I think we guessed a little wrong on the left front tire, but other than that, Goodyear was wonderful. Held up perfectly, and we didn't come here to go down without a fight, and I wanted to send that message to them. There's been too many races where they've been running away with stuff, and we weren't going down without a fight today.
Chris Dyson certainly made a statement today, guys.
His car is 24 seconds behind Marco Werner and Andy Wallace. There he is, the Englishman, driving the 20 Thetford Norcolt Lola AER. Can he bridge that gap? It's going to be tough.
I've known Chris Dyson for a great long time. I was a teammate with him, with Rob Dyson, his father, let me drive for him for quite a while. And I can tell you right now, without any reservation, that was the drive of the young man's life. Without question, if he wins or not, that was his best drive. 1st and 2nd in GT. Here is young Patrick Long, the 22-year-old Californian in the New Century Porsche. And it's tremendous to see these guys up there. He and Kurt Wagner have driven very well today. It's been somewhat of a lean year, though. They are yet to stand on the podium in the 66 machine, so today really could be their day. Let's hear from one of our other GT competitors who also stands a shot at victory today. He's with Brian.
Now, David Murray, your buddy Craig Stanton, really putting the pressure on Patrick Long right now. You guys seem to have improved every weekend, and it could be your chance today. You guys have the fuel to make it to the end?
Yes, we do, and the 66 car, I believe, is going to have to stop again, even though Craig's closed on. We're really concerned about the 45 car behind us. You know, this track is very unique in that you're in a corner such a long time, and the balance of the car, front to rear grip, is extremely important. I think we've done a really good job, the Peterson White Lightning team, of getting that balance right. The rears go away before the fronts do, and then whoever gets the car set up to keep the rear Michelin tires better than the fronts will be the ones going to win the race.
And we've heard it in several other classes, tire conservation, it could be the key, and these guys down to Peterson White Lightning, they think they found that key, Lee.
Well, David Murray just said that you have to keep the rears alive. And the same time he was saying that, I was listening on the radio of the 45, which he was afraid of. Darren Law calling in and saying, I'm having a lot of trouble keeping the rear under the car, which means the back end of the car is getting very, very loose now. Possibly the tire issue David just can't mention.
On board with Darren Law now.
very, very tender on the throttle as he leaves the corner, because if he doesn't do that and it's loose, he'll spin the back wheels real hard. Listen how smooth he runs that throttle.
Prototype 2 class leader on pit road, the Miracle Motorsports machine.
And there's James Guay bringing it in, directed by his father, Mike Guay. Drove for Mike back in the 80s. And the problem is right now, this is not routine. The crew are going inside the cockpit. The gear shift lever is broken, so they're having to effect a repair here. So this is costly. We saw the 30 car on pit lane. The 56 car is out of action, so these two cars are going for the win here this afternoon. These boys have won 2 races this year. Ian James leads the points, so that's critical. They get 70% distance of the race leaders to score points here today, so they need to get this repair done. You can see the mechanic working with the drill there, looks like they're trying to drill out one of the pivot points in the shift linkage and try and repair it either with safety wire or whatever, but this does not look good for the 10 car.
What's ironic is that these guys have gearbox problems. They have all the things to fix the gearbox, but a shift linkage problem is something you normally don't have, and seldom do these teams have anything to deal with to fix it.
Kind of makes me think of the day that you ripped the gear lever right out.
Yeah, that definitely broke it for the day.
Stick around, plenty more to come from Portland. Welcome back to round 5 of the American Le Mans Series. Round 6 comes up in just a fortnight's time up in Canada at Mosport, and then that is of course on CBS Sports. And the next race on Speed Channel will be coming up from the high speed and very beautiful Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That comes your way August 22 right here on Speed. Back in the action here, and the 20 car at one time was a race leading car. Andy Wallace did get this car to within 22 seconds of the lead, but problems, Calvin.
Well, this is anything but routine. The team are unsure what the problem is. I just spoke to one of the crew members. They do not know what the issue is. They're trying to peel off the cover of the engine there and try and take further investigation, but they put this duct tape on there to seal off all the cracks so that the bodywork will stay on there. It also makes it more aerodynamic efficient, so they're going to go to work. Look inside there. They're over on the left side.
Oil leaks, obvious oil leaks anywhere.
Yeah, the radio communication there between Randall Kelsey, the crew chief, and the crew. Hunting around. Andy has obviously reported some kind of problem here. We'll try and have a chat with Andy maybe and see what the problem is. Andy, what's the problem?
Oh, got no power. Just lost power.
Okay, we don't want to get too much in the way here. You may need to communicate with the crew, but no power to the AER engine right now, Lee.
What a shame.
They had a problem last week with also an electrical problem with fire to only one cylinder last week. Now it looks like the whole thing's gone bad.
Tough break there. Meanwhile, Marco Werner, race leader, he is trying to put a lap on James Weaver. Take a look at this.
Weaver right there in the 16 around the outside of the Porsche.
Coming by the GT class leading car, Craig Stanton.
Now, Audi trying to position himself around the outside. Is on the outside.
Whoa.
I wonder if James learned that from Chris Dyson, or if Chris Dyson learned that from James with the pinch-off maneuver here. No, you're not. You're not doing that to me. Get out of here.
Ooh, a little bit of hip and shoulder there.
Yeah.
A little damage on the left front
now
too.
on the left front.
That wasn't there before. On board, boof, boof, bang, out wide.
This Audi is a tough one. I tell you what, it's taking lefts and rights to both noses. You know, left side, right side, both have the little dive planes knocked off now. The car should be understeering like mad, particularly high-speed understeer. However, it just keeps soldiering on, as this Audi has done since its inception.
This is first and second in the race, but in the reverse order to which you see them. James Weaver is in fact running second. That's the lead car there, the ADT champion Audi. And we've seen just how robust this magnificent car is. Frustratingly, Andy Wallace, one-time race leading car, sits motionless. Coming up right after our coverage here in Portland of the American Le Mans Series, don't forget Speed News, NASCAR Edition, Speed News Regular, and NASCAR Victory Lane. And then later tonight, right here on Speed, the replay of the German Formula One Grand Prix. Marco Werner, whilst we're in the commercial break, has just received the black flag.
And that, of course, once again, for making car contact with the Dyson car, James Weaver. Driver's furious. Marco Werner really not happy with this call whatsoever.
Well, round goes the Crone Barber Murcielago, and I think that looks like the 6, is it? Tracy Crone is behind the wheel at the moment. The 2-litre goes through shot there. John Field, I think, is in the car at the moment. And Tracy Crone fires up.
Does the wise thing. Turns around, goes up the straight part of the section, be way back into the competition now.
Tracy and teammate David Brabham had the most bizarre accident yesterday when both of them crashed going down there into the festival curbs under braking. Here is John Field sharing the ride with his son Clint and Robin Liddell today. And John will be back in his regular 37 Lola in P1 at the next race at Mosport.
They order a brand new tub from Lola. That tub actually broke right in half. So they ordered up a brand new one. They're building it up as we speak.
Been a good tussle today between this car and the Miracle Motorsports machine as well. They've both enjoyed time in front, but now John Field has got this car back out in the lead due to the problems that we just saw recently with the Miracle Motorsports car. Let's talk GT for a moment. Patrick Long just brought the 66 in. He has done his last pit stop of the day, but this guy is good to go to the end. Craig Standen is being chased by Romar Dumas. There's only 2.5 seconds between them. Neither of these cars has won in GT this year. There is a lot on the line. And guess what? The last time the Peterson White Lightning car won, Craig Standen was at the wheel. That was last year at Road America when he shared the ride with Johnny Molam. They were the only team, the only car to beat Alex Job Racing last year. And they may do it again today, but there's Romar Dumas, the very, very intense French driver who is incredibly quick, and this battle is far from over. Let's hear from one of our GT competitors who's done well today.
Well, Lee, unfortunately, Patrick Long had to bring his number 66 car in under the green for that last pit stop. Court Wagner, every time you and Patrick run together, you seem to learn a little bit more, and the team seems to gel a little bit. Had to feel good to run in the lead today and show what you guys can really do.
That's good. I mean, Pat's running up front. He's doing a great job in the car. The New Century Racing Group Porsche GT3 RSRs. It's really, this guy's put together a good crew. The Racing Group, Kevin Buckler's crew did a great job preparing the car. New Century, I mean, I'm so glad they're on board. Pat ran into the front, did a great job. Yes, unfortunately, we didn't get a little luck. We could have used some under a yellow flag and tried to pit under a yellow for strategy and maybe keep the lead. But right now, we're just making it up. And, you know, Pat's doing a great job in the car, so I'm not worried.
That's the strength about GT, guys. Different leaders all the time, and you never know who's going to win that class, guys.
Have to be impressed with Mike Peterson and Dale White. They said right after qualifying, as Werner continues to chase James Weaver. We haven't seen Werner come in yet, so he's ignoring that black flag. We'll follow up on that storyline in a moment, but Dale and Mike, they called it. They said we didn't qualify as well as we could, but we've got a good race car, and they lead GT at the moment. This summer, treat yourself to the most fun you've ever had watching NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing. Fantasy Cup Auto Racing returns with more than $350,000 in cash and prizes. To enter the official fantasy game of Speed Channel, simply log on to speedtv.com. Beautiful, beautiful setting here in the Pacific Northwest. And the track below. Racing continues, and we've got just over 20 minutes remaining in the 5th round of the 2004 American Le Mans Series. There is the one-time lead GT car of Patrick Long, the New Century Racers Group Porsche. And whilst we're away, we have had a change at the top in GT, and Romar Dumas has got by Craig Stanton in the Alex Job Porsche.
These GT guys putting on a whale of a battle, all these Porsches trading it out back and forth all day, not very much distance between any of them.
There's Craig Stanton, there is the lead car. The Frenchman out in front. And Mark Lieb is with Calvin Fish.
Mark, looks like you boys are having a great race today, and in GT racing this year, you need the perfect race to get it to victory lane first, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so tough in GT class. It's unbelievable hard, and today we've made no mistakes so far. We just had a little bit of a problem, and I had to come in a little bit earlier. But Romain is doing a fantastic job. He had the last 3 races, he was on pole, and we're just getting better and better. And so far, it looks very, very good.
All right, fingers crossed for you the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Mark Lieb almost became a professional soccer player. His dad and uncle were very high-level goalkeepers, and it was only the chance of being invited to go to almost like, what's Roush's deal called? The Gong Show?
Gong Show.
It was almost like a Porsche Gong Show, and he was selected.
Well, they say how easy it is, and they try to talk like it's really easy, and they said it's very competitive. But look at the front end of these Porsches. All the lead ones have damage to the left front. You see the 20 right behind him is back out on the racetrack again. So they fixed the misfire for Andy Wallace. But all of these Porsches, which have been doing such a great battle in GT, haven't done it without some cost. All of them have some sort of damage to the front and sides.
Dumas leads and leads comfortably. And we hear that John Macaluso is stepping in the 10 car. I can update you that the 20 is back out on track.
Of course, the 10 had gear shift problems. We documented that. They were trying to fix the gear shift lever, not the gearbox itself.
Radio check.
And it is John
Radio
Macaluso.
check. How about the driver ID? Do we change that? Driver
Celebrating his birthday today, and he will get to drive in the Grand Prix of Portland. Meanwhile, Ron Fellows in the Corvette has moved up to 3rd overall and leads the GTS class. There's Bob Leitzinger calling the shots. Back live at Portland, and 2 great websites to keep you up to date with everything in sports car racing, in particular the American Le Mans Series, speedtv.com, and the American Le Mans Series, which is simply AmericanLeMans.com. Back to the racing, back at the front, and we can update you on the Marco Werner situation, and we do understand that it was a white and black flag that was waved to Marco Werner, and you might like to explain that, Dorset.
It's merely a warning saying that, hey, you saw that, and if you do that again, it won't be the white one this time, it'll be the black one, you'll be coming in. So right now you see James Weaver, who is 9/10 of a lap down, he's trying to be put a lap down, is getting away a little bit. I think Marco Werner was probably just now backed off, and the 6 cars got some trouble. The Tracy Crone car being pushed in now, finally. It was at the entrance to pit in, but it wasn't across the yellow line that designates the pit in, so they had to have a couple course marshals push it past the line so that these guys, the crew, could pick it up from there.
And this is Nick Jonsson that's actually behind the wheel right now, the Swede who we enjoy watching race in the Speed World Challenge Touring Car Championship. He won a week ago at Infineon Raceway in his BMW. He was invited only on Wednesday night by Dick Barber to come and join this team. Regular driver Scott Maxwell unable to make this race again. And we saw Dave McAtee fill in last weekend. Meanwhile, on board with the 4 Corvette, and we see James Weaver go flying by. Here comes Werner lining up for his shot. The front end of that car, although it looks a little awkward and twisted on the Audi, it's still holding on nicely.
And it must not be that bad of a deal aerodynamic-wise either, because he's able to run pretty competitive lap times. Also, Marco, I'm sure they would have told right now, just keep it cool. You see the second place car right there in front of you. It's almost a lap down. Just run laps off. Don't hit anybody for crying out loud, because keep black flagging us.
Final 15 plus minutes remaining. Winding down to the end of this one. And if you've just joined us, we saw a thrilling fight early on in this race. There's been multiple contacts, and it was Chris Dyson, JJ Lehto, Butch Leitzinger that gave us some electrifying action earlier on in this race in the Prototype 1 class. It's been the Corvettes at the front of the field in the GTS division. There's been multiple leaders in GT. Meanwhile, let's take you through the various classes. You ride with Marco Werner. He leads the Prototype 1 class as he whips by John Macaluso in the Miracle Motorsports Nissan. The ADT champion Audi boys have had to work hard for it today. In P2, sadly, we lost the Team Bucknam Nissan early on with a blown engine that left the fight between 2. The Intersport Lola here with John Field behind the wheel. He's driving with Son Clint today. And the Miracle Motorsports Nissan, they've been going head-to-head, swapping the lead, but it's this car set for another victory. In GTS, the 4 was in the lead earlier on with Ollie Gavin, Olivier Beretta, but the 3, experience and patience and some luck thrown in goes a long, long way. And Ron Fellows' Johnny O set for back-to-back victories, and it would be their 4th of the year, and they are well and truly on their way to another championship in GTS. Johnny and Ronnie are the reigning GTS Series champions, and it's looking good again, Dawes.
Yeah, that is experience, and of course that's a lot with Ronnie Fellows getting up his age a little bit, and Johnny not a spring chicken either. He just had a birthday the other day. And,
yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. In any event, these wins and these championships are something that will sit with them the rest of their lives, and they're doing a great job.
And in GT, Romain Dumas, the man who has set 3 consecutive pole positions. He's new to the American Le Mans Series. He's not new in Europe. He's a very, very well-known competitor over there. Finished 3rd in the German Carrera Cup last year. He's even done a Renault Formula 1 test. He's a quick guy. He leads the way over Stanton and Darren Law. He and James Gilway, look on. Coming up right here on Speed at the conclusion of this, the Grand Prix of Portland. Speed News Sunday, and of course that's the NASCAR edition first, followed by the regular edition, and John Roberts and the guys bringing you NASCAR Victory Lane immediately following Speed News tonight, and then the German Formula 1 Grand Prix. That's coming up immediately after the conclusion of this event. It seems as though the problems for the 20 continue in the Dyson camp. Calvin, tell us more.
Well, they got the car running. I just spoke to Randall Kelsey. Andy Wallace took it out on the racetrack, and it still has a misfire. They believe they may have identified the problem. In the wiring harness, there's a plug, and they have these little pins that have to connect, like a male and female connector, and one of those is pushed back. They think that's the problem. They're now sending Andy back on track to see if the car will run strong again.
Calvin, it looks like you've got some new red shoes this weekend. Did you pay for those?
I certainly did, Lee, and I know you're very jealous of it.
You did? Did you pay much for them, though?
It's a little disturbing when they show up on those high, wide camera shots.
Actually, I've had that same problem happen driving for Rob Dyson. There's a
just past you for
connector's got 36 pins in it, and if one of those pins pushes back, you can't do anything. Right now, Andy using this as a test session just to make sure, because this is the same exact problem, I think, that they encountered last week as well.
He sits back in 6th overall, 3rd in the Prototype 1 class. We're coming toward the end of this one, and Marco Werner still enjoys almost a full lap lead over James Weaver. Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Portland is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Back at Portland for the closing stages of the Grand Prix of Portland. The American Le Mans Series continues here on Speed. You ride with German Marco Werner, the reigning champion in the top class in the American Le Mans Series. And as we count down to the checkered flag, no more commercial breaks until we see the checkers. And thanks for your patience with those commercial breaks, because we had a lot in the latter half of this race, because we stayed with that fabulous battle early on between Chris Dyson and JJ Lehto, and also Butch Leitzinger. But this is the lead car, poised for 4 consecutive victories overall and in the Prototype 1 class. But boy, it was a little it was a little exciting earlier on. Yeah. The heart rates of many in the ADT champion team were a little above normal.
Marco Werner now only running lap times at the 108 high, so he's still going quite quick, but he's not under any killer pace anymore. He has no pressure to get by James Weaver right there in front of him to put him a lap down. No need for it whatsoever. I mean, right now he just needs to run off some time, and everything will be in his court.
In the other classes, the leads are pretty secure for Ron Fellows. Has done a wonderful job. He and Johnny O in the Corvette Racing C5. For John Field, it's comfortable there over the Miracle car in P2. In GT, it's been one of the closest battles today, but Romain Dumas has in fact pulled away and extended his lead on Craig Standard to out towards 18 seconds. Let's take a look now at Ron Fellows. Smooth running, car looks as clean as it did when it started. No damage, what a smooth run for the reigning champions.
It's like Marco Werner. Ron Fellows has been told the same thing. Now they can't catch you, just go ahead and run it off. And this is what this man is still good at. My ex-teammate, very smooth driver, very calculated driver. He will not make any mistakes from here to the finish.
And they won the last time we were here 3 years ago. 2001, the American Le Mans Series at Portland, as Macaluso guides Ron Fellows by. Some damage on the front of the 24. You see on the left-hand side there, Romo Duma has got into something, but all looking good for he and Mark Lee.
Roma right now enjoys about an 18-second, actually it's a 13-second lead right now over second place, so it's not huge. It's still a good battle going on in GT.
And for both these guys, it will be their first victory in American Le Mans Series racing.
That's a bit amazing when you consider they've been the fastest every time out.
Yeah, the last 3 races they've been quick as far as poles are concerned. Bergmeister and Bernard got the pole the first 2 races of the season, but it's been the sister car ever since. For Peterson White Lightning, they are trying desperately to hang on to second, but look at this, Darren Law is reeling them in. The car, the combination of Van Overbeek and Law that had their win stripped from them a week ago at Infineon Raceway after an infraction during the race. And we played you those sound bites earlier from team strategist Thomas Blum and various members saying they weren't aware of what happened. They took it on the chin. We're a little bit miffed that it did get ruled on after the race was over. Wow. And several of the competitors were a little bit frustrated with the decision of IMSA doing that, kind of like in a football game, really. A touchdown being scored, then having it taken away after the game was over. But they're making up for it now, and Darren Law is trying his best to get another second spot.
Look at Darren Law close in right now, and I can tell you the Porsche in front has got no rear tire, no rear grip. Watch, look at it slide on the entrance to the corner right there. It gets loose. When you're sideways like that, you can't do anything with the throttle. And I've watched the last 2 corners. There again, sideways, back end stepping out. The sitting duck, he's driving for all he's worth. But I tell you what, Craig Stanton's got a handful of a very ill-handling car. The back end is quicker than the front right now.
And that is why Romain Dumas has been able to drive away almost 20 seconds up ahead. And Darren Law, it's only a matter of time until he snatches second place away. But we only have 3.5 minutes left, so Law needs to catch him and get by.
Darren right now will have seen how loose that Craig is. He sees the back of the Porsche twitching around. And all he's got to do is just drive in deep in these corners, force Craig Stanton to come in deep. And when he does, the back of that Porsche will step out, and he'll be a sitting duck.
And for Darren Law...
3 minutes. There may be a buckler car going slow. 3 minutes.
That's Thomas Blum calling the shots. This guy, Darren Law, and Van Overbeek, his teammate, lead the GT points by just 5 over Timo Bernard. But with Bernard being back in 4th place, that'll be more points advantage to Law. Look at Craig Stanton get sideways up ahead.
Yeah, once you get the rear tires hot, it's a death spiral. Oh, there's the slow car they were talking about. It's pulled off the racetrack there, the 67.
Jim Matthews in the New Century Racers Group Porsche there.
Gets off the racing surface, and that's good. Nothing to worry about there now.
Closing minutes, closing laps.
Once that back end starts sliding around like that, the more it slides, the hotter the rear tires get. The hotter the rear tires get, the more they slide. Watch right here. These corners are long, and halfway through the rear tire gives up, and all of a sudden you get that twitch right there. It gets sideways. Stanton doing all he can just to hold on. Unfortunately, I don't think anything he can do right now is going to make any difference. Darren Law has caught him.
Darren Law, Johannes Van Overbeek drove together in the ALMS back here in 1999 in Portland. So happy memories, great to be back here together. And now the driver from Phoenix, Arizona, set to pounce on Craig Stanton.
As soon as he gets on the throttle, the back end steps out. Doing a great job of keeping it under control. But when
2 more laps.
When they get up here to the festival corners, I think it's going to be desperation time.
Can Craig Stanton hold on? The race for second in GT. The leader has bolted. And the Alex Joe Porsche of Romain Dumas, Mark Lee, will win for the first time this year, and for the drivers it will be their first win in ALMS. But this is the fight for second, and there's valuable championship points for the second car, the red and silver Flying Lizard Porsche, to be gained.
Watch from behind, a faster GTS car, one of the Corvettes are going to catch these guys. Now remember, they're only got a lap or so to go, and they're fighting for position. This Corvette could screw this thing up. Not intentionally, I'm sure, but it could get right in the middle of it.
Stanton's got the inside line. Now if this gets sideways, doesn't quite as badly as we thought. Darren Law's got a clean run. He's in front now. Law takes over second.
Yeah, and here comes the Corvette. It didn't play a factor in it whatsoever. As they were side by side, you had nowhere to go either way.
Can Stanton respond?
I don't.
It's a difficult place to.
He can't brake as well with the rear tires hot like that. He can't turn and corner or accelerate as well. Right now, he better just sit still and get what he can get.
Well, if he can stay where he is, that'll be the 3rd podium the third place, in fact, for the Peterson White Lightning car this year.
Still 2 more, buddy. Still 2 more. Got a bet coming up on you.
Stanton pulls into the draft of Ron Fellows, trying to get every possible assistance to help in this battle. We ride with race leader to the left of your screen. Marco Werner is in cruise mode as he gets the white flag. And Werner is less than 2 miles from home, less than 2 miles from his 4th consecutive victory.
And he's on cruise control right now. I say cruise control, and he lights up the rear tires big time. Now, is he going to try to get by James Weaver just to insult him and put him a lap down? He doesn't need to.
No.
James has had a rough day. He might, not take kindly.
A 3-year absence. 3-year absence of the American Le Mans Series here in Portland. But today was a race to remember. It's somewhat of a subdued finish compared to the ferocious action we had earlier. But nonetheless, a very, very hard-fought win for the 38 ADT champion Audi. We speculated earlier, we said if they can come back from the adversity they've experienced, that will be a mighty win. And it has been that. Marco Werner, JJ Lehto. Lehto, take nothing away from Werner, but Lehto was the star of the show. He came back, he rebounded, and what a stunning day for the ADT champion Audi. 4 wins in 4 races. And they extend their championship lead. Marvelous work. John Field, Clint Field, and Robin Liddell, they pick up their 3rd victory of the season. The first with John sharing the car with Clint. And that will go a long way in helping them in their championship chase. Let's get it down to the pits. Calvin Fish.
JJ Lehto is certainly ecstatic. You were the star of the show. It was a highlight package just for you today.
I tell you, it was just so difficult today. Everything went wrong, but at the end, we won it anyway. So it was really hard working, and I have to say that the team did such a good job all the time. Pit stops, all the tactics, whatever. I got all the penalties. I made all the mistakes, but at the end we got it anyway. So it's this is the best race I have had for a long, long, long time.
All right, JJ, it was fun to watch. Let's go down to Brian.
Calvin Clint Field and his Intersport team, 3rd victory of the season that closes in on the points championship for you guys, but probably most important, these last 2 victories, you did them with your dad. How special is that?
It was good to have him. He had a bad couple of races, before, so it's good to have him in our car. And I love driving with him, so it's good.
That's probably the right answer anyway, since he pays the bills, guys.
Yeah, good work from the Field family and also Robin Liddell. Nice work there to those guys. And we congratulate the Corvette team as well. And Johnny O'Connell's with Cal.
Johnny, another victory for the 3 car. Ollie Gavin says you boys have all the luck, but it takes experience and patience in one of these events.
It really does. First off, it's my son's 10th birthday today, so Kanan, happy birthday, man. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, everyone on the CompuWare team did an amazing job. These 3 guys, we show up for Sunday, we get the job done, and the Michelin tires were great. Steve Cole, everybody, the K-Tech engines, Michelin tires, everyone did an amazing job. Most of all, you got to thank Chevrolet, because, man, if they weren't here, we wouldn't be winning races.
Johnny Red, congratulations. Let's go down to Brian once again.
Calvin GT winner Mark Lieb, 4 podium finishes, 3 poles in a row, but you got the monkey off your back, guys. You got the win.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, everything was perfect today. I think we deserve the win. We're now the 4th time quickest on the track right now. Today we had the luck to win. I just want to thank everybody in the team. I want to thank Michelin, McKenna, Alex Stroud Racing. It was a perfect day for us. Thanks.
Perfect day. You heard it, Lee. Perfect day.
Mark Lieb said to me earlier this morning that he didn't really like the Portland circuit. I'm sure he will change his opinion now. We have to get off quickly. We're going to go to Speed News. You can get full results of this race on Speed News. On behalf of Brian Till, Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for joining us for Sports Cars on Speed, the Grand Prix of Portland.